the other commission too. Let's see who zooms in. We got 4 people.
I wonder if we could share a box.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rochelle Niagara. I'm commissioner for 2G06. Welcome. I'll be running the meeting at first until we get our officers set. Welcome to our new commission. It is extremely exciting. So far we do have 4 commissioners online, so we do have a quorum to conduct this meeting. This meeting is currently being recorded. So if you don't want your image recorded, your voice recorded when you become a panelist, if we call you over, do not be part of this meeting, okay? So, or if when you're a panelist, you say something kind of crazy and awful, then you might be removed, or make an obscene gesture when you're a panelist, okay? So don't do that. Oh, we have 10 people. We're on a roll, you guys. Now we're gonna look for Lydia Goring here. Oh, there she is. Oh, Lydia, I'm going to move you over now, Lydia. So Lydia Goring is going to conduct the election here. Lydia, move yourself over. I tapped you.
Rochelle, I think that we need to adopt the bylaws first, which deal with how elections are run.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, either way.
I think that's my sense, unless other people have different views.
Well, I think we need to make that change.
I'm not sure how we adopt a bylaw without having officers.
Why don't we just elect officers first and then?
Okay.
She's done it before. Lydia, can you hear me? I see her. Oh, there's Tony. Tony, I'm moving you over.
Hello.
Hi, Tony. Welcome. Oh, there's Lydia. Hi.
Rochelle, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay.
Hooray. Okay, everyone, that we do have 11 people on the other side, just to reiterate.
Would you mouse?
What's that sound? So we are currently recording the meeting. So if you do get promoted to panelist, if you make an obscene gesture or say something obscene, you will be removed. So if you don't want your image recorded or your voice recorded, if you become a panelist, do not become part of this meeting, okay? But it's exciting because we're new. And Commissioner Goring, emeritus, was commissioner with 2C. She will be conducting our officer election this evening. And we're going to start in 1 minute. We'll do a roll call. You okay, Tony?
I think so.
Okay.
Mhm.
Hi, everyone on the other side. Okay. And I do have, here's a question in the answer box already. Oh, that's you. You're typing that. Okay. Thanks, Alex. So the question and answer little box is open. You can put a question in there, and then we can answer it. After the meeting will be, oh, hey, yay, Commissioner Barry's here, hooray. All right, y'all, it's 6:30. Let us begin on time. Again, my name is Rochelle Niagara. I'm commissioner for 2G06. Welcome to the first meeting for the new commission 2G. We are excited to be here, and thank you to the attendees who decided to Zoom in. So I am going to do a roll call here. Before we can. Okay. Okay. All right. 2G01.
Present.
Okay, 2G02.
Present.
2G03.
Here,
Right. 2G04.
present.
Okay. 2G05.
Present.
Hooray, yay, welcome. And 2G06, that's me, I'm here. Okay, we are present and accounted for. Again, let me just reiterate that this meeting is being recorded. Okay, and we have first on, we are going to do elections of officers. And we have invited Lydia Goring, who is a wonderful woman who is a former commissioner for 2C and has done this in the past for us. So Lydia is familiar with the officers. We have chair, vice chair, treasurer, and secretary. And we'll be taking, people can, the commissioners can nominate themselves, or another commissioner can nominate the commissioner. So for whatever role. Okay, Lydia, we're gonna have, the floor is yours.
Are we going to start with the chair?
We can do that, or whatever you like.
Do I hear nominations for the chair?
I would like to nominate myself.
Rochelle Nigra for chair.
I'm going to nominate Alex Padro.
Any others? Okay. Oh,
Well, can I make a comment?
yes.
Okay, I'm going to. So I just would like to make a very high level comment. My concern, as was demonstrated before people got on this call, is I worry, and Alex, I like you as a person, et cetera, but it is concerning about your role with Shaw Main Streets, and that is a conflict of interest with the commission. And I think that could put our commission at risk, because you do deal with developers and bars and restaurants, and as your role as the director for Shaw Main Streets. And that is a concern for me, that I don't think we should be put into that position.
And I'm happy to respond. When in the past there have been any perceived conflicts of interest, I have always not only recused myself from voting on any matters in relation to benefits that would accrue to my employer, but I also make sure that I am not even in the room for the discussions and don't participate in those discussions. So, this is something that's been vetted in the past and has never, proven to be an issue. So,
Well,
I have served as the chair of the commission of previous commissions, and served as chair of a number of different organizations, and I have not had an accusation of the type that you are proffering presented in the past. So,
well, it's a concern. I think the other commissioners need to be aware that it could possibly come up, and it is an overall concern, not only of mine, but of other people in the community. So I'll leave it at that, because I'm not going to go into the weeds.
it's no more of a conflict than your employment by Pepco, and as whenever Pepco comes to present and is looking for approval from the commission, you always make it very clear that you are an employee of Pepco, and you don't take a position on any matters affecting your employer. That's
Except your business affects your entire single member district. I mean, I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna leave it at that. That would include the bars, the restaurants, the development, the transportation. It's running neck and neck, and I'm gonna leave it at that, because I'm not gonna go into the weeds. But there you go. So go ahead, Lydia.
Can
Go
I
ahead,
can I ask
Lydia.
a question? Sorry, just around this. Commissioner Padre, you said that this has been vetted. Has it been vetted by Vega, or who has it been vetted by?
I believe that Vega or his predecessor agency, I can't remember, which of them. It's been a while.
Okay.
So I would like to revisit that, but I'm gonna leave that there too.
Okay. All in favor of Rochelle Nigra?
Me. Conflict free.
1. All in favor of Alex Padro?
Aye.
4.
Aye.
Okay.
I heard a fast
Aye.
there.
I'm sorry.
Sheena.
Yes. Can you see me?
Yes.
I can't see you.
I got 1, 2, 3, 4. Who am I missing?
Sheena,
Sheena? And who did you vote for, Sheena?
Alex Padro.
Okay, so that would be 5. Okay, the Alex Padro has it with 5. All in
Thank you,
favor?
for your confidence.
All in favor of electing Alex Padro?
No.
Just did.
Okay. The yeas have it. Alex Padro as chair. Vice chair,
I like to nominate myself for lady in waiting.
okay. Any other vice chair nominees? All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
And the person I can't see is
Sheena,
Aye.
Sheena. Okay, so that's 6.
aye.
6
So-
4.
I voted for me.
Oh, sorry. And all in favor of Rochelle Nigra?
Aye, aye,
Oh,
aye,
At 6.
6.
5. There's a total of 6 of us.
Okay,
6. I already voted aye.
okay. 6 in
Mhm.
favor of Rochelle. 4 vice chair. Nominees for treasurer,
I would like to nominate Tony Brown.
Tony.
Yes,
For chair, any others? Okay, all in favor of Tony Brown for treasurer?
aye.
Aye.
6. Okay. Tony Brown for treasurer has been elected.
Thank you.
Secretary. A nomination for secretary?
Who wants to be
Nominate
secretary?
Alex Lopez.
Alex, you still want to do it?
Happy to do it. If others want to, Commissioner McCarthy may be interested because part of the secretary's role is, I think, maintaining the website and potentially social media presence, if that's something you're interested in. I don't feel strongly about being secretary or not, if other folks want to jump in.
Any other nominations? Okay, Alex Lopez. All in favor? Aye.
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 6 in favor. Alex Lopez is the treasury.
No, secretary.
I'm sorry, secretary.
Thank you.
Tony can't wait to be treasurer.
Okay. And okay, nominees for treasurer?
We already did that.
We did it. We did it. You're,
You're done.
you
Oh,
have
okay.
done your duty, my friend.
Wait, my book
Thank you.
box
you
is
so
a
much.
little confusing.
Thank
Okay, well,
you.
congratulations to all of y'all. I know all of this is not easy.
Thank you so much
All
for your
right, Lydia.
service as always, Lydia. It's much appreciated. You're always welcome at ANC 2G.
Take care.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
take care. Bye. Bye.
Can I raise a point of order? Are we recording?
Yes,
I see the recording
it says
button.
recording. Yep.
So colleagues, per the agenda that we previously have discussed and already have made some emendations to, we should, if we can, quickly approve our bylaws so that we have those in place and move forward with other business. Commissioner Lopez has prepared a draft, which I made some edits to. I believe that most of
I can show it.
at this point. Does anyone have any questions about the draft that Commissioner Lopez has prepared? So I just had one question because there was some email traffic this afternoon about the establishment of term limits for the chair, which was not in the original draft.
Yep.
Is that something that well, let's. So first of all, does anyone have any questions about the draft as we saw it before the most recent suggested change?
Just
So I
really
th- I-
quickly, this draft was, it's adopted from, it's a redlined adoption or edit from an OANC model language. I made changes that I felt were appropriate, kind of reflecting some of the traditions carried over by ANC. One of the reasons why it doesn't have term limits, which is something that I actually support, is because that's not in the OANC draft, and I think I just didn't think to put it in, but I'd be happy to include that as well.
Yeah, I think it should be included. I think whoever's chair, 2 years is plenty. And this is a volunteer gig. So we should be able to switch it up.
So comments from the others that haven't spoken yet about the proposed change, the imposition of term limits on the chair.
I have no objections to that. I dropped off the call, so I just wanted to say my 2 cents in that. No objections to the 2-year term.
Okay,
Okay,
Steve,
so I'm
comments?
making an edit in real time. I would put this in as right before the chairperson's duties as section 8.
So can we hear from the other 2 commissioners that we haven't heard from yet?
Yes, based on the fact that none of us are guaranteed to be in office all the time, I would basically say not to do that because you just don't know who's going to be in office every year.
Stephen, any thoughts?
I'm in support of the term limit amendment.
Tony, I don't understand what you mean. If it's just,
Every 2 years, we're elected.
yeah, correct.
It's not guaranteed that the same 6 people will be in office.
So you say making it 1 year?
No, 2 years. Leave it at 2 years.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Okay, so see the language, no member may serve as the chairperson of the commission for more than 2 consecutive 1-year terms. Okay, so do we want to impose that on the other officers?
Right.
I think that's fine.
Good.
I don't think so. If we have a good treasurer, they should be treasurer for life.
I don't think anyone wants it, but I don't disagree with that because it's good to, even though, like, for example, when I was chair and Frank was treasurer and all that, and even though we worked hand in hand, it wasn't until I actually did the role that I understood it. And I don't think it's a bad thing to kind of move around. I mean, I'm just saying, so, but I'm not wedded to that.
Like I'm as the chair, I mean the treasurer. It sounds like a bunch of doom and gloom for the treasurer.
If we switch banks, it won't be doom and gloom. If we switch banks, it's the bank, so we'll be all right.
Okay, well, I'll see if I can make the 2 years.
So I'm trying to get a sense, is there a consensus that we want to apply it to all officers or just the chair?
No for me.
Others?
Just the chair.
I say yes to every spot.
Sheena,
that's fine.
Stephen?
Just the chair.
I
Office
will,
stressful.
I agree, just the chair.
Okay, well then, Rochelle, if you can take this down, I think we're ready to for a motion.
That's Alex here.
So I have it up. I'll need to make some
Oh, okay.
conforming changes to the section numbers, but we could do that, I think, that after the meeting.
So if you make that a motion, then we can proceed.
So I move that ANC 2G adopt the draft adopt these bylaws as edited for the bylaws of this commission and communicate that to OANC.
A friendly amendment that you will include any technical corrections such as the numbering of the sections.
Yeah, I'll accept that as a friendly amendment.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
I second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hands.
Aye.
Aye.
I,
We,
And it's unanimous.
we have-
Thank you very much. We have bylaws.
we have to approve the agenda. We didn't do that.
Yes, indeed. Alex, do you have it that you can put it up on the screen?
I have it. I think, no, I don't. No.
If
I
not,
have it. Oh, I do have it. I do have it right here.
I can show you this.
This is the annotated version of the agenda. So I guess the agenda would be approved without the links here. Do we need the original version of the agenda?
no, I think that's sufficient. Just want to make sure that everyone had the opportunity to be refreshed as to what it is that we're approving. So
Okay.
I would welcome a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Is there a second?
second.
Been properly moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I,
Unanimous, thank you very much. We have approved. As in the past, in past commissions, we value the efforts of the Metropolitan Police Department in keeping our community and our residents safe. So we prioritize hearing the reports from the Metropolitan Police Department before we move on to other business. Alex, can you see if Captain Riley Hong or another officer or official from the 3rd District?
Alex, I'll move him over. Hold on. 1 second here. There he is.
Good evening, Captain Hong. If you'd like to unmute yourself.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you very much and welcome to the first ANC 2G meeting.
Oh yeah, thank you and congratulations to you all. Sorry if you hear any road noise. I'm driving, trying to multitask.
Well, do so carefully, but we appreciate your being able to join us this evening. As always, we put you at the beginning of the agenda so that we can hear from you and our constituents can ask any questions they may have and allow you and your officers to resume your duties as quickly as possible. Why don't we start out with whatever remarks or reports you're able to offer us this evening.
Yes, so what I'll do is a quick recap of the crime stats for PSA 307 for the month of December, comparing 2022 to 2021. So we had an overall increase in total crime, but it's mainly driven by thefts. As for violent crime, we actually had a decrease from 7 to 6 total violent crimes. And in the 6 violent crimes that we had for the month of December, we have 4 robberies, 2 assaults with a dangerous weapon. And out of the 4 robberies, we have 1 that is closed. Out of the 2 assaults with a dangerous weapon, 2 are closed. Actually, correct that, all 3 are closed. Sorry about that, 2. Yeah, 2 out of 2 are closed. Overall, one trend that we've been seeing a lot, especially in the 3rd District, is robberies for high-end winter coats, especially the Canada Goose brand and some other jackets that are over $1,000 each. It seems that the suspects are going around and it's just a crime of opportunity when they see these high-end jackets. Those are the victims that are being targeted. So just as a public safety announcement for all citizens, if you do have one of these jackets that are highly sought, I believe Canada Goose and Moose Knuckle are the 2 brands that we see the most being taken. Just be extra vigilant of your surroundings and just know that it's possible that you may be targeted. I do know there was one question about the Black Denali unlawful discharge we had early in December. I followed up with our detectives and they are working with the different establishments in Blackton Alley and following up with potential witnesses. I believe there's one detective is waiting for a follow-up from one of the establishments who are checking the videos. One interesting piece of knowledge for the Blackton Alley area that I received from the ABRA investigators is that the establishments that are restaurant class business licenses, they are not required to have security plans or security cameras, things like that. However, most of those establishments do voluntarily have it, and they have so far been cooperative. We haven't had issues with them working with MPD or ABRA. That's all I have for that. I'll open it up to a few minutes of any questions or concerns.
Now, commissioners, I see that Commissioner Nigro has her hand up. Why don't we start with you?
Hey, Captain. So you had talked about the coat situation. So one of those incidents happened a couple weeks ago. It was just horrific, where the victim was an attempted robbery of the coat. The person ran into the firehouse. The victim thought he was okay. He then proceeded to go back outside and then got attacked again. So what do you have it was horrible. And so the victim did reach out to me. Do you have any sort of update on that?
I don't have that information offhand, but if you email me, my email should be visible. If not, it's riley.tong@dc.gov. And I can follow up on that especially if you have the date,
I have the date
location, or report number. Yeah,
and
that
and
kind
then,
of stuff I can definitely follow up.
Okay, and let me also implore to you, and you might have heard this from the commander, about the presence of the Dunbar High School students, basically pervasive throughout my single member district, in the morning and in the afternoon, where there is extensive drug use and extensive loitering on private property, and it goes on and on and on. And I haven't tracked it for the past week because of the holiday and all this, and I was out of town. But are you aware if the MPD has increased the presence, because it is off the charts?
Yeah, so that is something that we get complaints of throughout the 3rd district. Most recently, we've had some school age students possibly hanging out, using drugs, or just smoking marijuana during school hours near the Columbia Heights area. And because of the information and photos that the citizens were able to forward to us, we were able to focus on that area. And we have officers that are assigned to truancy. So during those school hours, they could go investigate and make those contacts and address as accordingly, usually making a report and bringing them to school. Each school also has school resource officers who are the primary for the safe passage and school issues during school hours. But if the best thing I can say is, because we're going around answering all these calls for service all throughout the 3rd district, the best thing is, if any citizens observe what appears to be school age students that are not in school during school hours, call 911 or text 50411 with the specific location and a lookout, and the dispatchers will be able to send the officer to investigate.
Okay, my constituents have been instructed to do that, because the Safe Passage program is not seem to be functioning the way it is supposed to be. So there is that concern, but that's a whole other discussion that you're not involved with. So we'd appreciate any presence in the alleys, the Ridge Street alley, this little tiny Ridge Street alley, the bigger Ridge Street alley with N Street, and then now they are also on the 5th Street alley between 5th and 6th Street. So there you go, but putting it out there. And we would love to have a foot patrol. Well, you know that. So I'm done.
Yeah. Okay,
So-
thank you.
Officer Hung.
Yes.
I'm Sheena Berry. I'm a new I would just like to say, as far as the young children who are not in school during school hours, interfering in on people's property and things like that. I'm wondering, is there some type of program with the school where they're sent back to the school, or the parents notified? Because I would hate for these kids to, for making a mistake at the age of 13, 14, being criminal record for something of that nature when we have all done that. And I don't want them to be targeted because they're Black and brown students for, and punished like adults. So I don't know if you have a program like that, but I would be interested in finding out more about that.
Sure. So as far as patrol goes, our primary goal is to respond and investigate the call for service. But if we do come across school-age students, juveniles during school hours, our primary goal is to get them back to school, and the school can make the documentation notification. Now, other programs to support these students who may be choosing not to go to school, that's something the school resource officers may have more information. If you could email me, I can follow up and forward your query to the managers in charge of the school resource officers, and they may be able to provide more information on programs.
I was more concerned with the police interaction with the Black and brown students, because police have guns and that, and trying to make sure that dynamic is a peaceful one. So that was my concern. And also, I know we all live in DC, it's not just 2G, but if you could speak about Karen Blake, about what's going on. A lot of residents have called me today, have asked me about the young man who was shot as he entered a home by a homeowner. So if you could speak about that, that would be great.
Oh yeah, I don't have much information about that. I do know that press release was done just for every person involved, every citizen, every neighbor, just to allow the investigation to be conducted without jumping to any conclusions. I know there's going to be upset emotions. That's natural. And I know there's concern that the right thing is going to be done. I just ask for a little patience, that we could have faith in the criminal justice system, that the investigators will do a thorough job and that they will get it right.
Okay, thank you for speaking on that.
Hey, Shana, I want to talk to you about, you have to come with me. We're going back to the school kids. I invite you to come with me, because
Okay.
what we're concerned about is the Safe Passage Program, which is a $4.3 million program that's not functioning, that the taxpayers are paying for, and it is not functioning over here the way it's supposed to. So please join me. We can discuss. Right now we have not only the I have currently the principal involved, the police, the city administrator, and the head of Safe Passage programs, and no one seems to know what to do. So it is something. So you're gonna come with me, we'll have coffee, and we're heading over to Dunbar, but you'll see, it's interesting to watch.
I understand. My home was broken into back in November by some school-aged children who were in middle school. And so I understand. I have a personal relationship of this issue. I also know that we have all been children before, and I do know that Black and brown kids are punished severely when it comes to issues like when they do things that other children do, and they're just like slapped on the wrist or, given to. So I want to make sure that that's happening in my community. At least speak on it.
Oh yeah, because there's actually nothing being done, so there's no worry about anything happening to kids. So the problem is that the Safe Passage Program individuals are actually afraid to talk to the kids.
I want to thank Commissioner Berry for bringing this perspective to this meeting. I think it's extremely important that we recognize that children and youth are, brains are not fully functioned, and interactions with law enforcement can be extremely dangerous. So we need to the extent possible, look at alternatives to provide resources for these kids and provide diversionary opportunities rather than MPD should be the very final resource that we call.
Well, I agree.
So
And that's why there's,
I just wanted to thank Commissioner Berry for bringing that.
well, and I agree with you, Alex, except there's a $4.3 million program that's not working. So there's the point. We don't want to call the police either. We want the program to work.
Other questions from commissioners for the captain?
I think I have time for one more.
I have one, Captain. There was an incident, and unfortunately, I don't have the date. I'll try to get that for you later, where the Roasted Boone Coffee Shop at 11th and Rhode Island Avenue around 6 a.m. Recently had the cook opening up, and the cook was held up with a butcher knife, and his high-end bicycle was taken. Do we have anything on that?
Not at this moment, but definitely email me any other specific information you have on the case, and I can follow up. And just in general, also, the 3rd District, we've been hosting quarterly town hall meetings where we invite citizens, ANC commissioners, everyone that's involved in our areas, so that we could have these type of meetings all together. And in the future, rather than having all the monthly ANC meeting participations, what we've been doing with 2F was anytime any citizens contact the commissioners with any questions, we want to not wait until the month, but just answer the question directly. So please feel free to email me any questions or any concerns that the neighbors or citizens are asking about.
That's great, Captain. However, if you would hold on for a couple of minutes, I would like to see if we have any questions from people that are on the line that would like to be recognized. So if there is anyone that would like to ask a question of Captain Hong, if you can, actually, Commissioner Brown has a question for you. Go ahead, Commissioner. You need to unmute, Tony.
Officer Hahn, when is your quarterly meeting?
Oh, I'll have to double check, but I will send that information to all the ANC commissioners.
Okay.
And usually we will also post it on Nextdoor
Okay.
and different Google groups.
Okay, gotcha.
So again, anyone that is on the call that would like to be recognized, if you can use the raise your hand function, or if you're on your phone, dial *69 so that we can allow you to ask your question. And while we're checking for that, we do have a couple of questions that have come in through the chat. Mr. Berry.
I'm typing the one to Lisa here.
Yeah, so we have Mr. Berry asking, can we get the truancy officers' names and numbers so we can call them directly when we see incidents that we would like to have them engage on? So is that information available, Captain Hong?
That's not something we usually do. A part of the 911 calls that we request is because we have multiple things going on. If we have a priority, the truancy officer may be needed to respond and assist with that as well. And the secondary thing is the 911 calls are also tracked statistically, and it kind of shows what neighborhoods at what times and what days are requesting more calls for service and what types of calls for service. And this statistical gathering also helps us in the future when we try to plan out which areas may need more focus on different issues.
All right, thank you very much. Are there, Alex and Rochelle, do you see any hands raised?
Someone
Josh, do you see that?
wait, I'm sorry. Hold on a second. I apologize. Wait, let me move him. Hi, Josh. 1 second. I'm moving you over, Josh.
Commissioner Niagara and Commissioner Padro, may I ask a question really quick?
Oh, yes, of course.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see your hand.
No worries. Thank you, Captain Hong, for all of your work. I just wanted to reiterate a lot of residents in 2G04, especially in Blackman Alley, continue. Public safety is one of their top concerns. They continue to ask for increased police, MPD visibility and patrols as well, especially in the alley and on the weekends. I know that you all have been continuing your investigation into the unlawful discharge of a firearm that happened in the alley in early December. I want to reiterate our community's eagerness to continue to work with you. I've been in touch with Lieutenant Curtis, as well as a lot of other neighbors, and they will happily provide you with any security footage or information that they have that can aid you in your investigation. And I know that there was another incident in 2G04 on 12/24 where there was a shooting on the corner of 9th and M. And so I believe that the assailant was apprehended and positively identified. Could you please confirm that with us here for our constituents in 2G04?
Oh, yes. So that was one of the assaults with dangerous weapon that we closed in the 900 block of M. We had the adult male that sustained a gunshot wound to the leg, and the investigators were able to follow up on the leads. It was a known associate of the victim, and that case was closed with the apprehension.
All right, thank you. And Stephen, I apologize for not having seen your hand is on a background that's almost exactly the same color. So that was why I couldn't see your hand. So Josh, if you can unmute yourself and go ahead and ask your question of Captain Hahn.
Oh, sorry. I thought this was just any question. Sorry, I'll lower my hand. It's not a question for Captain Hahn.
All right. Well, thank you very much. So I don't see any other hands. And any other questions from commissioners? So thank you, Captain, for joining us this evening. We look forward to getting information about the quarterly meeting that you mentioned, so we can share it with our constituents and we can participate in it ourselves as well. So thank you so much, and we look forward to hearing from you again next time, not before.
All right. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Right.
All right, moving on to the announcements section. We will begin with any announcements from the Mayor's Office of Constituent Relations and Services. Is Grace Reeder on the line or another representative? Let's see.
Grace was here earlier. I saw her.
Grace is here, so if we can have bring her.
Yep, 1 second.
List.
Okay, Grace, I'm moving you over.
And then if you can please unmute yourself, Grace, and proceed to make any announcements or bring greetings from the Mayor's Office.
Hi, everyone. How are you?
Doing great. Welcome to ANC 2G.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here. So I have a couple updates for you guys. Is there a way for me to leave it in the chat as well? Would I just put it in the Q&A area, or I don't see.
We don't have the chat open, just the Q&A.
Okay. Is there a way I could leave these notes in the chat somewhere, or maybe you send to one of you and leave it there? Or...
What do you mean?
Just so everyone has I have some information that I want to share, and then I'm also going to share my email and contact number. So I want to make sure everyone has access to that.
So if you can put it into the Q&A,
yeah.
Figure out how to share that with everyone.
Yep.
We could also post it to the ANC website after the meeting if it's a document.
Okay, yeah, sure. That works. So hi, everyone. My name is Grace. I'm the Ward 2 liaison for the Mayor's Office of Community Relations and Services. They will share my email and contact number with you following this meeting. So if you have any questions or need anything from me, please don't hesitate to reach out. So I have some updates for you guys that I just want to go over really quickly. So recently, Mayor Bowser announced her DC's comeback plan, which sets 6 goals to achieve by 2028. One is create 35,000 new jobs in high growth target sectors, which will include increasing apprenticeship programs and filling gaps in training and credentialing, increase the share of minority-owned employer businesses to 33% of all employer businesses in DC, increase access to opportunity for residents and eliminate key amenity gaps, food, housing, internet across all neighborhoods. Add 15,000 residents to the downtown population by adding 7 million square feet of residential units, retain current residents and reach a population of 725,000, and increase economic prosperity in DC by lifting the median household income of Black residents by $25,000. Further updates outside of that, the MLK parade is on Monday, January 16th, and we will be meeting at Rise Demonstration Center in Southeast. The address is 2730 Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue. And the event will take place from 9:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. We recommend people arrive around 10:30. And on top of that, as part of events in DC for Martin Luther King Day or Martin Luther King Jr. Day, Serve DC is also hosting a day of service at 10 a.m. on January 14th. The event will take place at Arthur Capper Community Center. Just some updates on Christmas tree pickup and leaf pickup. Christmas tree pickup will take place from January 3rd to March 3rd, and leaf pickup is extended through February 11th. So I know there's been some delays on that, and DPW is hard at work to make sure that they pick up those bags of leaves for you as soon as they're able to. The weather set their schedule back a few days, so we apologize for that. There's also the Miss Senior DC 2023. So if you or someone you know is a DC resident age 60 or over and interested in representing your peers as Miss Senior DC 2023, applications are due on March 17th. As part of the notes I share with the commissioners, I will also include the link for you to access the application. DDOT also announced this week that they plan to install suicide prevention barriers on the William Taft Bridge. So I will keep you all updated about those plans as it progresses. The Department of Parks and Recreation is hosting a public meeting for Ward 2 members on Wednesday, January 18th to discuss the future of 26th and I Streets Park. The meeting will be at 11 a.m. at the proposed site. So it's a project kickoff. Feel free to come and share your ideas. And then the last update I have for you all is that I did a walkthrough on this Tuesday in 2G01 and 2G02 and made subsequent 311 requests of the issues I saw, mostly involving graffiti, illegal dumping, and sidewalk repairs. And I plan to do more sweeps of ANC 2G in the coming weeks. So if you have a pressing issue or an area you want me to check out, please feel free to email me so I can make sure to include that as part of my upcoming sweeps. And that is it for me, but I'm happy to answer any questions you all have or any questions the participants have as well.
Great. Commissioners, questions for Ms. Rader?
I have a question.
Yes.
Go ahead, Rochelle.
Hey, so I'll have to read the mayor's plan completely for the revitalization of downtown, which is if anyone who's been downtown, it's not good. So what is the time frame for that? I don't recall.
I will have to get back to you on the official time frame. I know that the residential units with downtown, that's something we're waiting on our federal partners to hear back on. So that's kind of where some of the projects are right now, but there are some buildings that are in the process of being converted, but I can get back to you with a
Okay.
more accurate timeline.
Great.
Yes, Commissioner Barry.
Hi, Grace. I wanted you to talk more about the Serve DC that's on January 16th. If you could give us a little bit more information, so maybe people who are on this call, they could possibly volunteer for this event, or have that information where they could plan that, because you getting us the information is very soon. So
yeah, totally. So there is a link on Serve DC website to register for the event. You can register to volunteer. It's servedc.galaxydigital.com. I will also include that link as part of what I send to you all following once I'm back in the participant section. I'll just post it as a question. So hopefully then everyone will be able to access that. And some of the things that they are doing as part of volunteering is honoring Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s vision of a beloved community by participating in meal packing, preparing go kits for seniors, and donating coats to benefit children and adults. And again, that's at the Arthur Capper Community Center, which is located at 1000 5th Street Southeast.
Thank you.
And that's on the 14th. And then the parade is on the 16th. Just for clarity on that.
On the 14th. Thank you.
I can also add that in our neighborhood, in my single mayor district to be precise, at Seton Elementary School on the 16th for the day of service, there will be several projects, including cleanup and beautification of the areas around the school and inside classrooms. So if anyone's interested in volunteering for that, feel free to send me an email or give me a call, and I can connect you with Adam Taylor, who is the president of the Seton Parent Teacher Organization. Any other questions for Ms. Reeder from commissioners? Any questions for Ms. Reeder from attendees on the line, on the Zoom call? Please raise your hand to indicate so that we can bring you over. I don't see any hands being raised. So with that, Ms. Reeder, if you'd repeat your contact information for anyone that wasn't able to get it earlier.
Yep. So my email is grace.reeder@dc.gov. So if you can see my name here, that's how you spell it. REEDER is the last name. And then my phone number is 202-297-6566.
Great. Well, thank you so much. We look forward to having you at our next meeting on February the 9th. And thank you for your efforts in our single mayor districts. We look forward to doing individual walks with you. I encourage all the commissioners to take advantage of the opportunity to have some one-on-one time with Ms. Reeder so that you can familiarize her with the challenges and opportunities that exist in your SMDs so that we can do better and the city can do better in terms of service delivery. So,
yep. Awesome. Thank you so much. And I look forward to working with you guys and really encourage you all to send me an email if you want to schedule a walkthrough. And I'm looking forward to meeting you all in person.
Thank you very much. Have a wonderful rest of your evening.
Thank you.
Next, I see that Brian Romanowski from Ward 2 Councilmember Brooke Pinto's office is with us. If we can bring him over.
There you go, Brian.
You can go ahead and unmute yourself, Brian, and welcome to ANC2G.
Thank you, Chair Padro, and it's good to be with you all tonight at the first ever ANC2G meeting. It's very exciting. For anyone who doesn't know me yet, I am Brian Romanowski, Constituent Services Director for Ward 2 Councilmember Brooke Pinto's office. I also happen to be a resident of 2G, so it's nice to be among my neighbors tonight. I have a lot of updates, so I'm just gonna keep going, but I guess first, Councilmember Pinto was appointed by her colleagues to serve as the new chairwoman of the Judiciary and Public Safety Committee, which we know is one of the top areas of concern we hear about from all 2G residents and Ward 2 residents in general. She has three broad areas of focus as chairwoman. The first is to enhance public safety and the court system. The second is to improve supports and opportunities for underserved residents and communities. The third is developing intra-agency and cross-sector partnerships. So I know those all are just broad, so I'm going to I'll post a link in the Q&A. I think that I'll be able to figure that out to her statement about when she became chairwoman and her priorities and more detail on each of those points. Besides her focus on public safety, she's going to be focused this year on improving housing stability. We know that housing affordability, homelessness, encampments, and the condition of our public housing is a top concern for many folks around Ward 2. She's also going to be focused on revitalizing downtown and making sure our local economy continues to recover from the pandemic. budget season is almost here already. So Councilmember Pinto is hosting her Ward 2 Community Budget Forum virtually again this year. So it'll be on Zoom in the same hearing format that was popular last year. It will actually be 1 week from tonight. So on Thursday, January 19th at 7 p.m. I'm going to post a link in the Q&A about how to sign up to testify. And if you're not able to make it, that link will also tell you how to submit ideas via email. Today, Councilmember Pinto introduced legislation to incentivize the use of electric bicycles by establishing an instant rebate for consumers and businesses who purchase e-bikes. There's some of the details. 50% of the rebates are reserved for residents who earn below 80% of the median family income. Again, that's below 80% of median family income. The rebates can only be used on e-bikes at bike shops located in Washington, D.C. So I'm going to post a link to the press release in the Q&A. The Convention Center has begun work on their streetscape improvements. Hopefully, I don't know if anybody's on from the Convention Center, so I hope I'm not stealing your thunder. But they sent out an email yesterday detailing the work schedule and the sidewalk closures. I'm going to share a link in the Q&A to that as well. And there'll also be a link for signing up for their email newsletters, because I know a lot of folks don't get those, but it's a great way to see what conventions are in town. They usually tell you the estimated number of attendees. So sometimes when I'm going down 9th Street, I'm like, oh, it's so crowded today. And then I can look and see in their email, oh, because they're having, Comic-Con today. So it's a really great resource. I also want to add a few things to Grace's DPW updates. So holiday tree collection, it has begun, but make sure you remember it's curbside this year. So during the pandemic, it moved to wherever your trash was collected. That's not the case anymore. It's curbside only now. So make sure you're not putting Christmas trees in your alley unless you have somebody coming to pick it up for you that is not DPW. And also a reminder that if you don't live in a house serviced by DPW for your residential collection, you need to have private hauling or take it to a DPW facility yourself. You can't just put it at the curb. Sometimes people do, then maybe 301 will get it. But again, you're supposed to be disposing of that yourself. Let's see. This is the only ANC where I can say this. The second round of leaf collection is supposed to be complete for your area. You're in zone A, 2A. So if your block was missed or you think there's still a lot of leaves on your block, please let me know. There's a couple that I think I've seen that don't look quite complete. But according to DPW's tracking map, every street north of, I think, New York Avenue is supposed to have been cleared twice already. As a reminder, I see a lot of these on the sidewalks. You have to submit a 311 request for yard waste collection for any bagged leaves. So I think there's some confusion about that as well. It might have been a pandemic era change, but this one stayed. So if you have your your leaves bagged on the sidewalk, you do have to submit a 311 request. They won't just take that. And they do have to be in paper bags. They're not supposed to be in plastic bags or any other sort of container. I know there was also a lot of confusion about trash and recycling collection over the past 2 weeks. For Christmas week, there was no slide. And then for New Year's week, there was a slide. So we've asked DPW to be more clear in the future to avoid missed collections. So in that spirit, Monday is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So collection is going to slide one day for the rest of the week. So again, we will have a slide for residential trash and recycling collection next week. I want to remind everyone you can visit brookpintodc.com. That's brookpintodc.com for most of the information that I'm giving you, but also to sign up for our email newsletter, which comes about every 2 weeks. You can also follow the council member on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. The council member would like to join you for one of your next ANC meetings. So we'll be reaching out to get her on your agenda for February or March. And I'll also be reaching out to do one-on-one walks with each of the commissioners this winter in the coming months. I think that's all for me. I'm going to do my best to put this all in the Q&A. So wish me luck, and I'm happy to take questions.
Great, commissioners, I see
I have a question.
Commissioner Nigro's hand is up.
So it's actually more of a comment, Brian. So with the two holidays and now with the King holiday coming up, if you could implore to DPW about the recycling has been an absolute disaster in my area. And I think other places in the city that basically was not picked up for a couple of weeks. And I wrote an email, and now there's a new interim DPW director too. Am I correct?
Right.
So it did not, I don't know what happened, but my constituents reached out, I reached out, but it didn't seem to go too well. So I'm not sure. I don't know, but
Okay.
it'd be great if you guys can say something.
Yeah, I will. And if you want to flag any specific blocks for me too, I can always say like, you missed this block twice, you know, that always helps to say a specific location because
Okay.
they'll ask me what block, what address.
I'll let you know. So
Okay.
it was not good the past 2 weeks.
Other commissioner questions for Mr. Romanowski? Stephen?
Hi, Mr. Romanowski, Brian. I want to +1 Rochelle, Commissioner Nigro's comment, but also the delays also cause issues in really in Blagden Alley. I've talked to both neighbors and residents, residents and businesses. Any longer than 2 days delay for the businesses, the owners have all said that it just piles up and it's a nuisance for everybody. So I understand that it's going to slide next week, but if you could help us pay extra special attention to make sure that it doesn't slide more than a day, would really appreciate it.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yes, also, Brian, you'll recall that I brought to your attention some issues that we've had in 2G02 with recyclables collections being missed for weeks at a time. So this is a recurring issue. I'm actually going to suggest that we add to a future agenda representative, or maybe the director of interim director for DPW to try to address some of these systemic problems.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the ANCs used to have the sweep inspectors at every monthly meeting. So maybe it's time to return to that. Sorry, friends at DPW, they might not like that, but we need at least some more frequent DPW interaction here.
I think it's certainly called for. That's one of the top complaints that we've been getting. Other commissioner questions for Brian? If there are none, if there is anyone that's on the Zoom call that would like to raise their hand and be recognized so that your question can be answered. Yes, there's a question from Yelena Vujovac. Bring her over. Are we able to slide her over, folks? There we go. Yes, go ahead, ma'am. Go ahead with your question. You're muted. You need to unmute yourself.
And there we go. How's
Go
that?
ahead. Great, go ahead.
So regarding the trash that's overflowing in Blagden, I guess the question is that going to be relocated to a common space, or we've been trying to raise the issue on why those dumpsters are there in the first place? And I know there's been discussions for like 2 years around moving those dumpsters out of the residential alley.
So I think you're talking about the commercial dumpsters.
The commercial dumpsters that are in the public space of Blagden Alley that are overflowing.
Okay, Brian, anything that you can offer there?
Yeah, I think that's certainly, unfortunately, a complicated question. The question would be, where do the commercial dumpsters then go? I know some businesses have kept trash inside of their kitchens. You know, they keep it inside a special room in their kitchen. But I guess I'll have to check again on the history of like how long those dumpsters have been there and if they were.
Could you, because I actually was advised by council that we think those are not legally placed, was my understanding. That could be erroneous, but if someone could investigate that, that would be appreciated. I worked for one of the businesses in Blagden, and because of that, we did not dispose of our trash in the alleys. We kept it in the building and then had it transported out.
Okay, yeah, I think that's something we'll definitely have to talk. We've talked to the businesses obviously about getting a compactor and consolidating so it wouldn't take up so much space in general, but I guess we can look into again the regulations and if they're violating anything. We've had DPW inspect back there a few times, as you're probably aware, and they hadn't issued anything saying that they weren't allowed to have the dumpsters, but I guess that is a larger discussion we need to have with them.
Thanks so much, appreciate it.
Thank you. So, Brian, I think it's a public space versus DPW question. So I guess let's work with Stephen to try to get some clarity on that.
Can I just ask a question for clarification? My understanding was that commercial buildings aren't serviced by DPW. Is that not correct?
Correct. Yeah, sorry, I think things got confused there. So yes, the commercial dumpsters are private haulers that the businesses are paying for, but they are using, what Yelena's saying is they're using the alley space to store their dumpsters, as is honestly common all around the ward and city, but is it technically legal? I'm not sure. So I'll have to check on that.
Yeah, and in the end, DPW is the enforcement agency for any trash related issues. So you do have to work with them as well.
Yeah.
Mr. Brown.
I've got a quick question. Recently, I went on a walkthrough in the French Street Neighborhood Association area. I noticed in the walkthrough, there are some houses that have upwards of 11 to 16 trash cans in the rear of their homes. Is there a limitation? That's the first. Secondly, is there a program that replaces the cans that have been eaten up by the rodents? Because that's another major problem. And then the other problem is people don't keep them closed. So the rodent program needs to, I guess, up its ante with this problem.
Yes, thanks, Commissioner Brown. So there's a few answers to that. So one, you can submit a 311 request for rodent replacement for containers. I think there's 2 different requests and I got a little confused by them. So if I usually go on 311 website, but maybe it's easier to just call them. They will replace the container if there's evidence of rat holes. So a lot of times in the lid, right, the lid is a thinner plastic. And so right where the lid closes, there's a hole. They either will try to replace just the lid. So they'll actually come out with a new lid and put that on there, or they'll replace the entire container if that's more necessary. They'll also generally do that if one of their trucks damages your can. So that's another good thing to know. I know sometimes the trucks run over cans inadvertently. So you can submit a 311 for that. You have to submit them individually. Sometimes a commissioner will say, well, I just submitted one and said, replace every can in my entire SMD. They won't do that. That is very costly, obviously. And they also want to know each resident is submitting these, you can submit it on their behalf, but it would still have to be an individual request for each address. In terms of the number of cans, you're only supposed to get residential collection if you have 3 or fewer units in your building. So say that you're a row house and you've got, a basement, a first floor and a second floor, and they're all different. You can have residential collection. If you have more than that, you're not supposed to have more than that. So you shouldn't really have more than 6 cans total. So 3 trash and 3 recycling. I know that nobody necessarily tracks that. One of my old houses, we had, 5 recycling, 3 people. And just sometimes that's because your neighbors don't bring theirs in and then somehow they end up in your yard. But 11 and 16 sounds a little crazy. So why don't we talk offline and I'll help you figure out what's going on with those.
Okay.
But they shouldn't have that many. Maybe neighbors are putting them all in one place. Sometimes that happens. No? Okay, weird.
Individual.
I don't know how they have room for that.
Okay, we'll talk offline.
So I see that Grace Reader from the Mokers has raised her hand, so perhaps she has some additional insight to offer on that. We bring her over.
Thanks, Brian.
Hi
Go
there.
ahead.
I just wrote in the chat that I would elevate your request to Clean City DC as well, because they can help with just passing out general information to help educate neighbors about proper trash collection and stuff like that. So doing a campaign of that nature might help with the issue, especially because I know DPW, there's a limit on the number of bags that they're able to actually collect in situations where there are, extensive amount of bags. So that's something I'll definitely elevate to them. And also, I forgot to mention, but when I did my walkthrough of 2G 02, there was one residential building I saw on 8th Street that had about like 30 bags of trash in the front yard. So that request has been elevated to DPW as well. If there are any other like specific properties that you feel this is a reoccurring issue, please just give me that information and I'll help elevate that request as well.
Gotcha.
Great, thanks. And we have Mr. Berry raising his hands with a question for Brian.
There he goes.
Mr. Berry, go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question, please.
Okay, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so I have a question I called the city about and I didn't really get an answer for, and I'm hoping Mr. Romanowski would know this. And I would think the ANCs would be familiar with this property. It's at the corner of 6 and O. Used to be a corner store. It's more of a liquor store now. You know the location I'm speaking of?
Yes.
Yeah. So they always they have a commercial trash can that they always in front of their property to the left of the front door, right? But a new owner bought it. And with that property conveys an empty lot, which is separately zoned, is legally a separate non-buildable lot. And they have moved that trash can to the rear. But what that does is when trash leaks out the bottom, water, waste, things of that nature, it now soils in the grass instead of being on a concrete surface that can be sprayed down. And it brings, rodents, right, rats, and a smell and a stench to the O Street, the 500 block of O Street. It just to me that a commercial property couldn't move their trash can to an empty lot just because they own it this next to residential properties. That doesn't seem to make sense to me.
Okay, you're talking about ABC Liquors, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I just walked by there the other day. I will have to check on that. Yeah, I don't know if they do own the lot, like in theory, the dumpster's on their property, right? But I see what you're saying, because even on Street View, you can, and on Google Street View, you can see it was there in August. And when you search around, you can see that it was previously, like you said, on the corner. So yeah, I'll have to check like on what the legality of that is. They still have a lot of room right in their little fenced area there too. So you think they could put it there, but I'm guessing maybe, I don't even know how the trash truck must just wheel it out no matter what. So
Yeah, they wheel it out different ways of, depending on who's parked where. They might just take it right over the curb if there's not a car there, or they might take it to the corner. But even if they're taking it to the corner, it's leaking basically sewage onto the sidewalk, and then we have to live with that smell and that stench. And it's a trash can that doesn't really fit. At least they could have it enclosed if they're going to have it there. Something of that nature.
yeah, exactly. And there is that whole little sidewalk bump out, and there's almost room there, but maybe that's a bad suggestion. But anyway, okay, I'll look into that for you. Does anyone have your contact info, or maybe I can try to talk to you offline somehow? I'll share my info in the chat.
Okay, ANC Barry has my information.
Okay.
Yeah. Great. I think that's the last question for Mr. Romanowski. So Brian, thank you so much for being part of our first ANC 2G meeting. And we look forward to working with you on all of the issues that have been identified, and to taking you up on your offer to do individual SMD walks so we can point out some of the issues that we'd like your office's help in addressing.
Thanks.
All right, thank you very much. Have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you.
In terms of other DC government representatives, I do see Teresa Dubois from Events DC. Teresa, I don't know if you want to be promoted to make any remarks, or if you're just here to attend the meeting. Yes, you're raising your hand. Great. Let's bring her over. Yes, Ms. Dubois, you can unmute and go ahead.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. Let me come on camera. There I am. Hello, good evening. Happy New Year. Hope 2023 is treating everyone well. Congratulations to our ANC 2G officers and commissioners. I feel like I've been with most of you guys for over 20 years now in various iterations, whether ANC 2C or ANC 6E, and now we're at 2G. And I think this is my finale, my grand finale. But for those of you I have not already met, I'm Teresa Dubois, Director of Community Engagement for Events DC. We operate several venues across the district, but in this community, we operate the Walter E. Washington Convention Center and the Carnegie Library at Mount Vernon Square, which most of you already know is a flagship Apple store. We're looking forward to continuing our positive working relationship with our ANC Commission. So thank you, Brian Romanowski, for the shout out about the streetscape construction outside of the convention center and encouraging attendees to sign up for the Events DC electronic mailing list. I echo those comments, and I hope that you all will be sure to sign up if you're not already receiving our monthly event calendars. That includes the estimated attendance for events at the convention center, as well as other helpful information and traffic advisories. This evening, I'm here to announce that the application intake period is open for fiscal year 2023, cycle 2 of the Events DC Community Grants Program. This program is for DC nonprofit organizations that work with DC youth in the areas of sports, cultural arts, or performing arts. Events DC provides annual grants totaling $500,000 in 2 cycles of $250,000 each. The individual awards range from $2,500 up to $25,000. The application deadline for this cycle is February 1st, 2023. So currently we are holding community grant informational sessions, well, virtual informational sessions during the month of January on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 12 p.m. and 6:00 p.m. So if you'd like to sign up for an informational session, learn more about the grant program, or see a list of past awardees, you may visit our website at eventsdc.com. I'll put my contact information and our website address in the Q&A box. Thanks so much for the opportunity to speak, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have at this time.
Commissioner Nigro.
So I'm sorry I missed the board meeting today. So just a quick question. Oh, I'm glad. So any more movement about the retail niches? You know, I'm obsessed with those beyond the pizza place.
I know that what are they calling them now? The red boxes, the hot red boxes. And so, and that's not our name. I think that's what the owner of DC Shy Pie had referred to them as on his Instagram page. We are all excited and waiting with bated breath to be able to do a ribbon cutting. I'm not authorized to even give a hint as to when we are thinking, but it should be soon. And of course, all of you commissioners will be invited to that ribbon cutting.
Okay.
Oh, and the car show's coming up. So, you know, sometimes the vehicles go around and test drive.
Yes.
So are you going to do a map for release, kind of like a map for that? Or
I don't think we usually do a map. We probably talk about the locations.
Yeah.
More so.
That's what it is. Yeah.
At this point, I have not heard about any, what are they, ride and drive activity on L Street. But as soon as I find out that information, I'll be sure to share it. And as you all know, the auto show begins next week. I'm looking at my calendar.
On the 20th.
On Friday, the 20th. So lots of fun. It'll be great to have attendees back in the building, and I'm sure the retailers will look forward to some of that incoming revenue that those auto show attendees bring.
And we love the crowds in art area.
Of course.
Commissioner Mary, you had a question?
Yes, hi. So 2G05 is my district, and the convention center is dead center in my district. And you just had the African Leader Summit, and it basically shut down this area for residents. And, you know, we know that we live in DC is everyone's city, it's federal land. But for the residents that live here, there are moments where they could be better informed about what is going on. And as you know, in this area, there are a lot of older residents who might not be privy to that information, who walk everywhere, who, you know, need to be able to get around or to just be able to prepare themselves for events such as that. It would be great if we could come up with some type of way to notify, especially of an event of that magnitude. in advance. And I did see an article in the Washington Post, but I mean, in the neighborhood, so that people are made aware, okay, well, I'm gonna have to fight for my parking this day, and maybe I'm not gonna drive for the rest of the week, or I need to have groceries so that I can prepare, so I don't have to go out, or, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I want to be able to communicate with the people who live here. I've lived here for 16 years. There sometimes things have happened in this area at the convention center, and it's impacted me. Like, I can't go grocery shopping, or I can't do this, or I can't do that. It's because I'm not notified, and I want that to be different. I think it would create a much a gentler response from the community, and the community would welcome the event a lot more than just having that just thrown at their feet and being like, deal with it.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Thank you, Commissioner Berry. I certainly appreciate those comments. I looked for you at the swear-in on January 2nd because I wanted to say hello in person. But your comments are exactly why we have the electronic database. And for all of our 2G commissioners, we would certainly just invite you all to sign up to get the information. In this day and age, back in the 90s, when we started reaching out to the community by email, I was able just to grab email addresses from wherever I grabbed them from and drop them in my blind copy email and send them out. But you fast forward to the 21st century, we have to have people opt in to receive information from our organization. So I would love to be able to send you a link where you can sign up for the type of Events DC information that you are interested in. You'll have options like Convention Center or RFK Stadium or Carnegie Library, community events, and that kind of thing. But by signing up, particularly for the Convention Center information, that will give you the monthly event calendar and any event related traffic advisories we would have. For instance, with the Association of the U.S. Army that we host in October, typically one of our largest events of the year, welcoming 30 to 40,000 soldiers to our building. We certainly want people to know about that, or even the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation annual event that sometimes utilizes the block of L Street, or even some of the streets on 9th Street and 7th Street right outside of our building to stage limousines for dignitaries, so we won't clog up traffic with double parking. So I would love to make sure that you're signed up and can help us further our outreach to your constituents.
Okay. Yeah, that is very important. But like I was saying, even as a commissioner, I have reach to everyone because of the digital divide that we have to acknowledge. Even 2023, that is something that we cannot ignore, because if we ignore that, we ignore the people that live here. And not everyone has that information, and it is up to me to represent all people of the single member district. So my hope is that not only do you have the website, but that we could post something at the Metro, or if there's something that I can print and post it, I will go around the city. You'll see me posting things because I want people to be informed. I want people to enjoy living here. So I will reach out to you, definitely. And I hate that I missed you at the swearing in ceremony. I've met a lot of wonderful people. I hate I didn't get to meet you. But I definitely want to be able to provide that. I want to create a different relationship between what is happening in the city for new people coming in, and making the other people that have been here, longstanding residents, feel heard and feel seen. So that is my priority, and part of the reason why I ran for this position. So I definitely will reach out to you, especially now I know that we share the same vision in a lot of ways about creating peace in that dynamic and preparing residents.
Absolutely. I feel your pain as a district resident and a native Washingtonian. I feel a little agony myself when the fabulous recreation center across the street from my house attracts visitors from all across the city without any notice. So I understand what you're saying totally. And I'm sure we'll come up with a way of making sure that all of the residents, to the extent possible, are notified.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
On that topic, I'd like to share from the chat. Monica says, yes, I saw something on Twitter about the road closures, but it was already the day of. A lot of people aren't on Twitter. There should have been flyers or something in the neighborhood. So I just wanted to make sure that we do recognize that the digital divide is a real thing, and we need to continue to make efforts to try and span it. So,
absolutely. Well, thank you so much.
any other questions for Ms. Dubois? If not, if anyone has any other questions from the attendees for the convention center's representative, please raise your hand or dial *69 if you're on the phone. I don't see anyone raising their hands. I don't see any commissioners indicating that they have any other questions. Teresa, thank you so much for always being accessible and being a great source of information, a conduit of information about what's going on at the center and the Carnegie Library. We look forward to having you at future ANC2G meetings. Do not be a stranger. And we look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you so much.
Are there any other district agency representatives that would like to be recognized? If so, please raise your hand or dial *69 if you're on the phone. I don't see any hands. Are there any representatives from neighborhood organizations or other stakeholder organizations that would like to be recognized to make an announcement? Please raise your hand or dial *69. Don't see anyone doing so. Are there any neighborhood residents that have any questions or statements or that they would like to make at this time? Please raise your hand or dial *69. I see Nick Jesse. Yes, Nick, let's bring Nick Jesse over first. And Mr. Jesse, I know that you're a 2G resident, but also you have an exciting project that you're going to be coming before the commission about in the near future. But if you can just take 2 minutes and just let people know why we'll be seeing you next month.
Sure. Thanks, Commissioner Padro. So my name is Nick Jesse. I am a resident of 2G04. I live at 1243 10th Street Northwest. And my business partner, Matt Kennernicht, who's on the call as well tonight, together we run Monarch Urban, which is a local real estate development and construction company. We wanted to come tonight just for a brief introduction to inform the ANC and the community that we are partnering with Shiloh Baptist Church on an upcoming project at 1507 9th Street Northwest, which is in 2G02. We will be pursuing a residential project at that site that will include a map amendment and an HPRB review process over the next few months. And this week we sent out a notice of intent to file a map amendment to residents within 200 feet of the site. So just wanted to come tonight to say that we're happy to meet with anyone in the community between now and the February meeting cycle when we are planning to come back and do a full presentation on the project. So I'll include my email in the Q&A if anyone would like to reach out and get together between now and then.
Why don't you go ahead and announce it now, so anyone that may want to jot it down can do so.
Sure. Yeah. So my name is Nick Jesse, Jessee. My email address is Nick, Nick, at Monarch, MONARCH, urban, URBAN.com. And my phone number is 202-215-6588.
Thank you very much. Any commissioners have any questions for Mr. Jesse? If not, thank you for being part of our meeting this evening, and we look forward to your presenting your project to our zoning preservation and planning committee in the next month's meeting cycle, and to having you at the full commission meeting next month. So thank you very much.
That'll be great. Thanks.
Also, before I take the next hand that's up, also wanted to share, oops, I had Ms. Dubois' contact information that she put in the chat. Let's see if I can get it back up here. So it's, if you want to email Ms. Dubois at the Convention Center, her email is tdubois, TDUBOIS @eventsdc.com. And the Convention Center website is www.eventsdc.com. And we have Josh Etam that would like to be recognized for a statement or question. Go ahead, Josh. Unmute and we can hear you.
Thank you. It took a moment to switch over, so thank you all for having this meeting, and really happy to be part of the first ANC meeting of the year. I just had a public comment or really a question for the ANC commissioners. Recently, I've been talking with DDOT, the DC Department of Transportation, regarding the residential permit parking program. Within our ANC, there are a few streets that don't have a residential parking permit and signage, nor do they have paid parking. And so vehicles that are there can stay there indefinitely because there is no law for those parking spots to be vacated after a certain period of time. And in my opinion, parking is necessary, but the streets are meant for vehicles to transition and share parking spaces and not take a space unless it is someone's individual driveway. With that all being said, and in talking with DDOT, the residential parking permit or residential permit parking program requires 50% of the individuals on a block to sign a petition to saying that they are in favor of putting up residential permit parking signage. One of the signs that you've seen all around that are either green and say you have 2 hours worth of parking time if you don't live in the zone, or if it's red and saying that you only people zoned for that space can stay there. With that all being said, and knowing that DC is such a transient space, my request or question to the commissioners is, within the petition, it's required to all be signed by hand. Yet so many people in our community are not always present. And if I set a petition up today, it could be a year from now or even 2 years from now to get 50% of the people that live within a block to sign. And when I asked DDOT about this, they said that ultimately this decision would be up to the ANC to decide to go with paper handwritten signatures and or to include electronic signatures. So my question, again, trying to make this as succinct as possible, would this ANC accept electronic signatures of such a petition if it came before you sometime in the near future, or just sometime in the future, I should say? Thank you, and I could take any questions if that wasn't clear enough.
I see several commissioners nodding their heads. Commissioner Lopez, you have the most experience with transportation issues as being the chair of the 6C Transportation Committee. Would you like to address that?
Yeah, so I'm just kind of speaking off the cuff because I'm not intimately familiar with the regulations, but I do believe that the requirement to collect signatures is a regulation of DDOT, not something that's within the bylaws or standing rules of this commission. So therefore, we'd be happy to discuss it or make recommendations to DDOT to make revisions to the DC municipal regulations, but or to just research it a little bit further. But I'm not sure that, you know, if it was just up to me, I would accept it, but it may not be acceptable to DDOT depending on their standards.
So Josh,
can I respond to that?
Well, that's Josh. Where is this, Josh?
What's that?
Where is this?
800 block, and what street are you referring to?
The 800 block of O Street, right in front of Perla and the intersection at O, which is across the street from Giant. Traditionally, those have not ever had signs as far as I'm aware. And with the intersection at O finally opening up the parking spots in front of their building, there is a lot of people parking continuously without moving.
Got it. That's in Commissioner Berry's single member district. I'd be happy to work with her to try to determine if there is some interim measure that DDOT could implement in terms of, parking limitations short of the imposition of the residential parking regime there, because, but yes, it is unreasonable that that block is completely uncontrolled right now.
Right.
Right.
If you want to share your contact information, I'm sure that Commissioner Berry would get back to you.
Commissioner Berry already has my information.
Okay.
But just to respond to Commissioner Lopez's comment, it was when I was on the phone with DDOT, it was they will still hold to the law, so to speak, or the ordinance saying that the petition has to be handwritten. But ultimately, they said that it is up to the local ANC. If they accept electronic signatures, then DDOT will follow suit and accept the whole thing. Sorry, my son just burst into the room.
So I would say that let's look into it. I know that there are just a handful of residents on that block because Perla is not fully sold, and Intersect has just opened up and started leasing. So I know that we're not talking about a huge number of signatures of current residents there, but I'll work with Commissioner Berry and DDOT, and we will get back to you with a determination on that. That sound fair?
I'd like to say something quick. I understand the parking issue. I struggle with it. I live 5th and O, and it's not just the people that live on that block. It's like everyone that goes to Giant, people who go to the restaurants on 9th Street, people at the convention center, churches. So like, I understand, people parking there and not leaving, especially since that block was under construction, especially when other blocks are so heavily patrolled. So I definitely understand what you mean by why that's not monitored for residential parking. So definitely, I'll get back with you, Josh. No problem.
Thank you.
And I see that Brian Romanowski has raised his hand. Perhaps he has some additional insight that he'd like to share. And again, if anybody else would like to be recognized, final round, please raise your hands. Otherwise, after
There's a question for you in the chat, Alex, that you probably want to address.
Yeah,
Brian, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, before that. Yeah, sorry. I love Google Street View, and you can go back in time. So I was just checking, and Commissioner Padro probably knows this better than anyone. The neighboring lots used to be parking lots, including when Giant used to be on the north side of the street there. Is that correct, Commissioner Padro? Anyway, so I think they didn't regulate the parking because they were parking lots. And then when there weren't parking lots, there were meters, at least for most of the block. And it looks like we're just playing catch up then with the signage. So I think, thank you for bringing this up to the resident, but just wanted to point out all that history.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Alex, do you want to address the question and the question and answer?
I'll type an answer to Ms. Bujabak.
Like, you might as well make it public since she's put it in there, so.
Happy to write it. Ms. Bujabak is saying, my apologies as I joined late due to tech issues. I understand Mr. Padro was locked in the chair. Is Mr. Padro executive director of Shaw Main Street and such is duplicative and a conflict of interest concerned as a resident, not a business, that Mr. Padro will not be in a position to fully and fairly execute his duties as chair. Please advise Ms. Bujabak as I advised my colleagues and the others that were present at the beginning of the meeting. I have been a commissioner now for 21 years. And whenever issues have been raised that where there are conflicts of interest, I have always recused myself. And indeed, when the interests of my employer have been involved in an issue that's being presented, I removed myself from the deliberations and made sure that I did not participate in any way in those discussions. So I thank you for your question, but I pledge to you and the community that I will continue as I have been, in past decades, only interested in the best interests of the overall community and not in the particular interests of any one business or entity. So thank you for the question. And with that concludes our announcements period. Moving on to our first item of non-administrative business. We have lot 803, which is part of the development at parcel 42. And I know that Bua Benite from Dante's Partners is on the line. If we can please bring him over. So this is an empty lot that is on the east side of the alley adjacent to parcel 42 on the 600 block, north side of the 600 block of Rhode Island Avenue Northwest, where the developer proposes to install a park with a piece of public art. And at the last ANC 6E meeting during which that commission had jurisdiction over this particular location, there was a question that was raised about the quotes that would be engraved or cast into a wall behind the sculpture in that particular park. And a request was made that the quotes have a relevance to the community. I was asked in my capacity as a neighborhood historian to provide some appropriate quotes for consideration by Dante's Partners, which I did. And now Mr. Benite is back to present the latest plans for that park. And I also see that Stacy Meyer from the Deputy Mayor's Office is present, if we could bring her over as well, in case she has any insights that she would like to add related to this issue. So welcome, Mr. Benite, to the first ANC 2G meeting. And feel free to begin your presentation. And this is in single member district 01, which is Commissioner Brown's.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Awesome. Good evening. Congrats to I guess everyone is an old friend and just new roles, right? So it's good seeing everybody, and congrats to all of your to your newfound leadership role, but more importantly, thanking you all for the sometimes thankless job of keeping the community together. Like Commissioner Padro said, I'm here to present on lot 803. Parcel 42 is a site that is currently under construction, moving at a pretty fast pace, and looking to deliver sometime in September. And we are here to specifically talk about the park that we have to get going on very shortly. And with that, I will like to share my screen, if I may.
Yeah, you can go ahead, Bill.
Sure. Where is the presentation? Okay. So I know some of you have seen this before in the past, so I'll just run through this pretty quickly. Dante's Partners, that's the building, what it's going to end up looking like. Again, just a brief background. We're talking about 110 units that comprises of 14 studios, 77 one-bedrooms, 19 two-bedrooms, ground floor retail, rooftop amenity space, and 16 parking spaces. Specifically talking about the park, it's a triangular lot adjacent to the site that we are currently looking to program. The theme of the park is sort of a play on the word, Still I Rise. Looking to have this serve as as an inspirational park for people to come and be inspired and know that you know, they can soar and rise above any and all impediments or issues that they're facing. And while they are greeted by this, you know, pretty beautiful steel wings, the idea is to also have a wall of inspirational quotes as well. I present an alternative plan here because right now, as a development team, so real quick here, just to orient everyone, you know, this is the triangle lot. It's gonna have fencing around it. It's gonna be the hours of operation. It's still to be determined, but the idea is that it's gonna have 2 access points for the public to walk through during the day, and you know, come and make this an Instagrammable moment, and you know, have a good, you know, relaxing spot for residents in the community to come and, you know, hang out. We are presenting an alternative plan that has the wall and not the wall. And the reason for that is because we are receiving quotes for a wall that is way beyond what we had anticipated budget-wise. It's pretty exorbitant in the very high 6-figure number, to be frank and transparent. So we are having to look at 2 alternatives that, you know, where we just have the wings and where we have the wings on the wall. Other ideas that we're thinking about is, as opposed to an undulating wall, which is part of the reason why it's becoming more and more expensive, is just to have a panelized wall, which could end up being, you know, significantly cheaper than what is currently being quoted. So that's why we are presenting those 2, you know, we're presenting 2 options, with one with the wall, one without the wall, and one where it's just sort of, you know, a panelized wall. And the inspirational quotes that Commissioner Padro spoke of, samples and examples of the quotes are the ones listed here. Happy to share with you all what we plan to put should we move forward with the walls throughout the site. So that's basically an update of where we are today and what we would like to proceed with. I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone has.
I have a question.
Yep.
Hey, Bua, just to refresh my memory, has your development company ever given money to Shaw Main Street's Alex's employer?
As my employer giving money to Shaw Main?
Has your company given any money to Shaw Main Streets ever?
Yeah, absolutely. But I say that to also say that let's not forget that you may or may not know this, but I was also a longtime board member of Shaw.
Yep.
And that was, I want to say that probably dates back to maybe 15 to 10 years ago, 10 to 15 years ago. So my allegiance with Shaw Main Street is because of all of the very active developments that I have going on in Shaw, and I want to make sure that you know, my properties as well as our residents continue to benefit from all that Shaw Main Street offers.
I see.
Our business as well.
Can we take down the PowerPoint, please?
Sure.
So Alex, I recommend that this is a conflict. But I'm just pointing that out to the other commissioners.
Any other questions for Mr. Benite?
I have a question.
Yes. Harry.
Hi, how are the residents responding to, has your project started? Have residents have a positive response to you being in the neighborhood and this building being built? Like, I just would like to know how. I see, you know, I looked at your presentation and I saw the inspirational quotes. I like the sculpture, it looks great. And it does reflect Shaw. I just I know it's a luxury building and, wanted to know, sometimes when buildings that are considered luxury, it's not always well received in a community where there's huge disparities between money and wealth and how people live. I'm the new commissioner, so you might have already given this information. How much of your project is affordable housing? And will those residents receive all the benefits if you do have affordable housing in that unit? Will they receive all the benefits of your project and not, be like giving subpar fixtures and finishes and things of that nature? Because those are things that I've seen in the past from developers. So I just want you to speak on that a little bit.
Yeah, Commissioner Barry, so all excellent questions. So let me take this opportunity to fully introduce myself to you. My company does. So my company, Dante's Partners.
Well, I can't hear you. If you could speak up, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I'm a little hoarse right now. Is that better?
I can hear you.
Getting better, yes.
Okay.
Closer is better, thank you.
So, Commissioner Barry, let me take this opportunity to introduce myself to you. So, I'm Bua Benitier. I'm a longtime resident of DC. I started my company in the basement of my house in LeDroy Park. That company has been around since 2006. And all my company does is develop affordable housing. That's all I do. 98% of everything I've developed is affordable housing. So we say luxury because I believe that you should not have to distinguish a Class A building from a luxury building. So if you drive, you're more than, I'm sure you've probably seen a couple of my buildings in your single member district, and you probably did not even know they were mine. So I have over, I want to say, and Commissioner Padre probably knows this better than me, I think probably 5 or 6 projects in and around Shore right now. It's probably, it is our most active area. So one of the site that comes to mind, which was also a district site, is a project called Capitol Vista, which is on the corner of 2nd and New Jersey Avenue. It's a very beautiful tower that I'm very, very proud of. Phyllis Whitley project is another one. I have a project on the corner of 7th and O, which I think is in your single member district. That's a senior housing right there on the corner that most people don't realize or recognize that it's 100% affordable housing. So that's what we do. That's what I do. That's my only focus. So of the 110 units that make up this building, only 2 units are market rate. So,
Let me ask the question.
Yeah. So I'm glad you did. I'm very happy. You're not going to find any more better advocate for affordable housing than me. So
Just to say this, the seniors do not have access to the other buildings that they are connected to. They don't have, they can't use the pool, they can't use the dog park. So when I ask questions like that, I want people to be able to live in these buildings that you create and have full access to all of the amenities. And that's just, even though it is in the building and considered affordable housing, separating them through access of amenities is something that also puts them in a situation where they're living in separation. Do you understand what I mean?
I understand what you're saying, but there was way more to that than you realize. And if you and I need to sit down and have a conversation about that, I'm more than happy to break it down to you and tell you why that is the case.
Okay.
I would just add that because the project went through DMPED's office, the mayor for deputy mayor for planning and economic development, there's covenants that are on the property that enforce all of everything that Boo was talking about. So everything's the same, all amenities and affordable.
For this project, right?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, the reason I asked that question had to do with the senior citizen, the senior home housing that is City Vista, because I visited that property.
City Market for the record, City Market.
I'm sorry, forgive me. Residents there let us know, the property manager was showing the housing and let us know that in one of the buildings, they have access to all of these amenities, but the senior building, which was, supposed to be like a, community, affordable housing, uh, I don't know the word I'm looking for right now, but it didn't allow the residents there to have access to all of the amenities that were offered, and including I think there's like a walkway they can't use, and just things. And I wanted to make sure that moving forward, that we move forward in a way where if we're all living together, we get to actually do that, and not just, oh, but you can't use this pool, oh, but you can't use this walkway, and especially with senior citizens, they definitely need the underground walkway more so than someone who is not. But that is a question. I'm so glad that you brought that up. Yeah.
All right. Any other questions for Mr. Benite about the park? Again, what we're looking at here is the
Gretchen
park.
has her hand up. Oh, I'm sorry.
Commissioner Lopez.
Yes. So, Bua, thank you for returning to the new ANC 2G. I know that you did present to ANC 60 in December, so I appreciate your persistence here, and also your willingness to work with us on identifying some quotes that I think are more appropriate and reflect the Shaw community. And so I really do appreciate that. So thank you. One thing that I was not made, that I did not realize at your presentation in December, that I only realized after the meeting, is that this Triangle Park area will be fenced and gated. And that's something that is a little bit concerning for me. This triangle lot has been fenced for as long as I've been in the Shaw neighborhood, and inaccessible to residents. Fences and gates are not always the most inviting and welcoming pieces of infrastructure in a park, and especially with a park as small as this triangle lot that, as beautiful as the wall is going to be, this, for a lot of people, this is going to be a park that they walk through to get to and from the alley. It's going to be a park to kind of traverse and kind of have a nice experience as you're doing that, and maybe think about the quotes that are on the wall. But my concern is that having a wall up, the fence and a gate provides the appearance that this park is not for everybody. And especially for the type of project that you're developing, which I know you're delivering 108 units of affordable housing to this neighborhood. We want to create spaces that do feel like they're for everybody. So I like the design. I don't like the wall, or the fence rather.
You bring up an excellent point. And look, so a couple of things for you to note. This was a big sticking point for our lenders prior to us closing on the financing of the site. That's number one. Number two is, this is a privately owned site whereby anything can happen. So from a liability standpoint, we have to protect for potential downside that may occur on this site. This is not a public owned site. This is a privately owned site. So this site is no different than the porch of my house, where I've got to protect it and make sure that I protect against any downside that may occur. And it was a major sticking point from our funders of this project. And this was one of the concessions that we had to put up. And unfortunately, it's just sort of the price of having this be a privately owned site and not a publicly owned site, unfortunately. Yes, it's on public land. I'm paying taxes on it. The district refused to abate the taxes as far as this small triangular site is, because they recognize day one that it's a privately owned site and not a public owned site. So because of the fact that it's privately owned in every sense of the word, we've got to protect it as such, which is why we would have it open during the day, and in the evening where nothing is happening, we've got to make sure that it's not a place where you know, not to say that everybody has, you know, bad intentions, but bad things do happen to good people sometimes. So that's why.
What's the height of the fence? Are we talking about a fence like the one around the Kennedy Rec Center that's like, it's pretty imposing and does not really invite people to come in and explore that park, or what is it?
I don't want to speak out of turn. I can share the details of the height of the fence. You know, when I get back with the team, I can email that to you. I can email that to everyone. I'll email to Commissioner Padre and he can share with you all. I'm sending a note to.
Do you have a view of the? Is it like wrought iron with barbs at the end, or what are we talking here?
I mean, if I have anything to do with it, it's gonna be somewhat decorative in nature, right? It's not gonna be way too imposing or look like a prison fence. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, it is an affordable project with very limited resources, so we've got it designed to a number. So we'll do our best to make sure that it's not. And I'm trying my best to not have to you know, make promises that I can't keep, right? So your concern is valid. I will get you the specifications of the height of the fence as soon as I get it from the design team. And to the extent that they have some visual representation of what that fence could look like, I will share that to you as well.
All right, other questions for Mr. Benite from members of the commission? Now we'll go to members of the public, and I see Gretchen Wharton has raised her hand. Over. Ms. Wharton?
Go ahead, Gretchen. You can unmute yourself.
You can unmute yourself and go ahead, Ms. Wharton.
Good evening, everyone. Boyd, this is just a question for you and also a comment when someone mentioned whether or not your new project at the corner 7th and R had community support. It definitely had community support. We have been waiting for this project for so long. So there should be no doubt that the community is behind Boer on this project. My question to Boer specifically was, how was the artist selected for this project, for the sculpture?
Excellent question. Well, first of all, thank you for that. Yes, there was a lot of community support because like Commissioner Padre knows, and he knows this site more than anybody else. This site dates back, as far as I'm concerned, I would say 2008, but I think Commissioner Padre would say it's more like in the 80s. So, but yes, everyone has been looking forward to this, and you know, thanks to this administration for pushing it forward. The inspiration behind the art was really around, I'm usually I'm a pretty optimistic person all the time, right? And I love I love uplifting, to the extent that I can, uplifting people's spirits. I love any art that sort of does that. I know what that art does for me, whether it's in the form of me reading a book or me going to a concert or a movie. You know, I just love things that uplifts people's spirits. Same thing for music as well, right? Like, I'm sure we all know of different songs that we can play that get us galvanized, excited to be able to move forward with that day. And I had the chance of watching, her name escapes me right now, Andrea Day, the lady who actually sang the song Still Arise. I had an opportunity of watching her perform, and it just blew me away. And I just said to myself, that's the sculpture. That's the inspiration behind the sculpture, because I left that concert feeling extremely uplifted. And you know, we sort of toyed around with the idea with a bunch of artists in the office, and we just felt like this is something that, you know, yes, it's wings, but it's a wing that people can stand in the middle of to take their pictures. and it puts you in a place where, you know, you feel like you've soared or you can soar into greater heights. So that's sort of the inspiration behind the artwork, and
No,
hopefully.
I like the inspiration. I like it, but I'm wondering how the artist or the sculptor was selected.
Oh, how the artist itself was selected?
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was a young. It's actually a young man that lives in the neighborhood. His dad is a famous artist, Victor Epoch, and I guess the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So I basically decided to provide an opportunity to the young man, and I think he did a fantastic job drawing the art. Yeah. So
I'm loving to hear that it's a neighborhood person.
Yes. It's definitely a neighborhood person, and he will be working with the fabricators to make sure that it meets his artistic standards.
Perfect. Thank you.
I can also share that if people are not familiar with Victor Epoch's work, if you've been to the Phillips Collection gallery, the installation in the lobby of the Phillips Collection is by the same artist. And also, we have a comment from Lisa Amare. The 10th Street Community Park is fully fenced with only one entrance. It is only open during the day. It's locked at night by DPS, and in my opinion, this is a good thing. So, comment, Ms. Warden, if you can lower your hand unless you have another comment. So, there was someone had a question. Is Gretchen still the chair of Shaw Main Streets? And yes, she is the chair of Shaw Main Streets. So
You want to answer the other question?
the other question isn't relevant to this particular case, so we'll answer that later.
Okay.
So Commissioner Brown, this is in your single member district. Is there an action that you'd like to take?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion for ANC 2G to support the approval of this, the final plans for the fence park and the sculpture.
And is there a second?
I second.
Probably moved and seconded. I am not going to vote on this just because, as has been noted, I have a longstanding relationship with Ms. Benite. I do not believe that there is a conflict of interest, but I would like to alleviate any concerns that anybody might have related to this. So that having been said, if there are no further questions, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any nays? And one abstention. Motion carries by a vote of 5-0-0. Thank you very much, Mr. Benite. We look forward to seeing this completed project and having it come part of a collection of public art in the Greater Shaw neighborhood.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone.
Bye,
Thank you,
Bua.
Bill. Bye.
Next case is the first of two alcoholic beverage regulation cases. This is La Jam at 1550 7th Street Northwest. This is a request for support for an entertainment endorsement for an existing Class C license. Anastasia Maury is on the line, or she was on the line. Let's see, she still is. She's raised her hand. If you can please bring her over. So as indicated, this is a Class C tavern license. This establishment is applying to offer live entertainment inside of the premises. Current hours of operation inside the premises are Sunday through Thursday, 7 a.m. to 2 a.m., Friday and Saturday, 7 a.m. to 3 a.m. Hours of alcohol, beverage sales, service, and consumption are the same. And the proposed hours of live entertainment inside the premises are Sunday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. Ms. Maury, if you would like to please explain your reasons for wanting to have an entertainment endorsement added to your license.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yep.
Hi, good evening. Yeah, so we've been in business for now a little over 6 years, and we would like to diversify, try to bring in new business, and especially on slow nights. We have done a trial for one night, so we applied for a one-day license back in September, I believe, during the Art All Night. And we had a live jazz band, and it went really well. We were really happy with not only the sound, which was one of my concerns, but also the feedback on customers. So we wanted to bring that back. The idea would be to be doing it probably maximum one time a month, only indoors, and only during our obviously early hours of operation. The idea also is to have bands that kind of match our concept. So we'll probably stick to jazz bands, which worked great. Yeah, so we are applying for a license and hope that this will be successful.
Thank you very much. Any questions on behalf of members of the commission? I don't see.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead, Commissioner.
So
Knight.
Alex, is Lambe a member of your Shaw Main Street? Do you support them in any way?
Shaw Main Street supports all of the businesses in the neighborhood. La Jambe is not an individual member. We are not a membership organization. They do not provide any support.
But you support them though?
Absolutely.
In a sense, okay.
That is the mission of the organization as funded by the District of Columbia government. So the ABC Licensing Committee met last month as part of ANC 6E as they holdover, and saw that there was no investigative history in the past 2 years, and that the recommendation of the committee was to support the request for an entertainment endorsement. So there are no other comments at this point. Are there any public comments related to this application?
I have another comment. Will you be voting on this?
Yes, I will be voting on this. I have no conflict of interest. Shaw Main Street does not have any interest and will not benefit in any way from La Jambe having an entertainment endorsement. So yeah, I was going to ask if there are any public comments, so please raise your hand or use.
I do have a commissioner question.
Coming back to you, Commissioner Lopez. I just wanted to make sure that if anybody wanted to raise their hand, they have the opportunity to do so. Go ahead.
Okay, Ms. Mori, thank you for your presentation. I just have two quick questions. One is the application for the entertainment endorsement. Does that allow you to have entertainment outdoors on your sidewalk patio?
No, we only applied for the indoors.
Okay. And a second question, do you have doors or windows that you typically keep open during business operations?
We have done that in the past, but it has been killing literally our AC. So that has been stopped, but that's been what, about a year maybe? And just the front door.
Okay, great. The only reasons I asked that is because we have had similar establishments apply for entertainment endorsement recently, and as a kind of a term of a settlement agreement, which I'm not suggesting we enter into, it's that the entertainment be confined to the indoor portion of the premises, and that doors and windows be closed when entertainment is being performed.
Absolutely.
And that's a way to mitigate noise escaping out into the neighborhood.
Yes, absolutely. We do not intend to leave the door open, especially during those nights.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, there's a hand raised, Yelena Bujevac. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing your name, and please correct me if that's the case when you come over to speak.
Hi there.
Yes, could you please pronounce your name for me so I don't pronounce it?
It's Yelena. J's pronounced as a Y. Yelena, like Johan. I'd like to understand, because I'm confused. I don't understand how it's not a conflict of interest if this establishment is part of Shaw Main Streets and is represented by Shaw Main Streets.
So a conflict of interest, exists. Finish your question. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I was really impressed when you recused yourself for the last vote, because that made sense to me, but this one doesn't. So if you could elaborate on that, that would be really helpful.
Absolutely, happy to do so. So Shaw Main Streets, provide support to all of the businesses in the neighborhood, promotional support. Sometimes we actually provide, grants using district government funds to help businesses succeed and to thrive in the neighborhood. The businesses do not give anything in return to Shaw Main Street. So Shaw Main Street, as my employer, does not receive any benefit. There is no portion of any relationship that benefits me personally as an employee of Shaw Main Street. So there's no conflict of interest that
Okay.
I have or Shaw Main Street has, in this particular.
Do you give the same support to residents?
No, we are not budgeted, by the city and not chartered by the city to be supporting residents.
So as a
we are supposed to support businesses and
Right.
and the overall uplift of the community.
and that is your professional job. So you can understand as a resident why I would be concerned for your participation in voting on issues that are part of your job, which is supporting businesses, and the businesses asking for your vote, as well as the ANC's for or against things. Not that I'm anti-business, but to me, when I look at that, you're representing businesses, not residents per your job, which I totally respect and understand, which is why I have a really hard time understanding then how, as an ANC chairman, you can then engage and vote on a matter for a business.
So again, conflicts of interests are judged by the individual based on a number of different criteria. You look at appropriate documents for elected officials, you'll see that there are specific criteria as to how an individual either does or does not have a conflict of interest. I do not judge that I have a conflict of interest or a potential conflict of interest where this matter is concerned.
But Alex, don't sometimes you help advertise by using your social media and all that?
My personal social media?
No, your Shaw Main Street social media.
Yes, but not the commission. Wouldn't use the commission social media.
No, I'm not talking about commission. I'm just saying the overall overlay is a conflict, but go ahead, and she's not done.
I was just gonna say, this doesn't pass the straight face test when I look at it from a legal perspective, but
Can we ask the Board of Ethics and Government Accountability to give us a firm opinion and then just have that hopefully for our next meeting? I think that we can go back and forth on this all night, but
Yeah.
none of us are. We need to ask at Vega if there's some concern.
We can invite them.
We'll submit an inquiry and we can ask Vega to come and present the results of their determination at a future meeting.
Who will present? I mean, who will submit the inquiry? I think that it should probably be somebody that's not interested in this.
I'll submit it and I will copy it to all members of the commission.
Why don't I just submit it?
You can if you like.
Okay.
So, Blagden Alley Condominium has raised a hand. Move them over, please.
Blagden Alley Court of Condominium.
Blagden Court.
They're there. Yep.
Blagden Court Condominium, please, can you identify yourself?
Go ahead and unmute yourself too. Go ahead, Blagden Court.
Hello. Hi. Yeah. I'm here representing the Blagden Court Condominium Association.
Yes, who are you, please?
Yeah, so I'm not going to identify myself. I'm one of the individuals who was subject to the criminal activity by the owner of 18th Street Lounge. So I would rather stay anonymous for now, as are several residents that live in Blagden Alley. So the Blagden Court, it's the 1200 block of 10th Street.
And who are your members?
The residents of the Blagden Court Association.
I'm sorry, we can't hear you.
The residents of the Blagden Court Condominium Association. I will meet privately with Commissioner McCarty so that we're clear. But for now, there's an ongoing investigation with respect to the assault and harassment by the owner of 18th Street Lounge, which you all should be aware of by now, which is why several Blagden Alley residents are remaining silent and have been remaining silent since April of 2022. So I ask that you please respect that. We don't want any further security issues, if I can.
Understood. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Can I just ask, is your organization, is it incorporated or is this an informal organization?
An informal organization. It's a condominium of 3 units. So we're on public trash, and we are not registered with DCRA, if that's your question.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, you had a question or a statement that you
May I proceed? Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, in the interest of concern, I am echoing my neighbor Yelena Bujevich's comments on conflict of interest, and I'm echoing Commissioner Nigro's, not echoing, but supporting that Commissioner Nigro pursue an opinion from Bega on the matter. Myself and the 4 people sitting here with me are not comfortable with Mr. Padro being involved or voting on issues with respect to businesses. And we have 3 lawyers in the room here, one of whom does ethics work. So I just wanted to have that on the record, that there are more than just 1 or 2 people concerned about this. That's my only, nothing new, just reiterating what my neighbor had said, just for the purposes of the commissioners here understanding that this is a concern that is more than just 1 or 2 residents. Thanks.
Thank you, and we'll hear from Bega hopefully at our next meeting after Commissioner Nigro poses the question to them.
I also think it's important, excuse me, I apologize. It's also important, Commissioner Padro, for you to understand the sensitivities of the residents, irrespective of Bega's decision. You're here to represent the needs of the community as communicated to you by the residents. That's a home rule legal matter. ANC's job is to represent the residents. The term community is defined in regulation as residents. And that's really important because things have been cloudy for the last few years, and there've been multiple parties trying to educate ANC differently. There are other parties for businesses to go to get a voice, to get relief. And there are agencies that are there to balance business and residential needs. But the job of the ANC is primarily to represent the residents. Thanks a lot, everyone.
Right, and my job as an ANC is to represent the residents who elect me as an ANC commissioner. When I come into a meeting, I am dealing with concerns of residents, not representing businesses in this context, because that's my day job. And that's
Great.
not.
Did anyone run against you, Commissioner?
No, I was unopposed.
Okay. Great, thank you.
I have a question. Could the residents that are here tell us why they oppose this? And just let me know, I'm a commissioner. I don't live on your street, or I'm not in your situation. Use this opportunity on the record. It's being recorded so that we hear why you don't want this, to help us make a better decision about what should or should not happen.
Sure, most definitely. And thank you, Commissioner, for your interest in hearing this perspective. It's because if a commissioner has a fiduciary duty to their organization or to their job.
Yeah, I'm talking about La Jamba, the rest we're about to go on a measure, and do you support the entertainment endorsement? I understand what you're saying in terms of conflict of interest and your concerns about that. I'm asking about, are the residents in support of the entertainment endorsement, or are they not? and why, and what have you been through to make you not be in support of that?
So, Commissioner Barry, we're located on the 1200 block of 10th Street, and the rear is in Blagden Alley. Where is this entertainment endorsement? What address?
It is
On 7th and Q.
yeah, 15
Okay.
7th Street Northwest.
Yeah, I want to be respectful of time and the fact that the residents there should have priority. So I'm gonna mute, and you guys can kick me off now. Thank you, Commissioner Barry.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah, I just don't live there. Yeah, in that area, but I support whatever the residents want there. We support whatever the residents want there.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah, thanks.
All right, there are no other questions. This is in my single member district. I move to have ANC 2G support the application for an entertainment endorsement for La Jam at 15507 Street Northwest. And we report this support to the Alcoholic Beverage Regulatory Administration. I would ask for a second.
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 It's been properly moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Mr. Barry had a question. Where's he gone?
Oh, no, I
Wait a
didn't.
minute. Oh, he gone. Okay, never mind.
So the motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Maury, for participating in this proceeding, and good luck with your entertainment endorsement.
Thank you all. Have a good night.
Good night. The second and final ABC case for today is Northern Liberty, and is Paul Jenkins on the line, or another representative from Northern Liberty.
It'd be Paul or Ben. Paul or Ben. Did you send them the link?
Yes, and I spoke
Okay.
personally
You
with
spoke to Paul?
Yes. But I don't see either of them on the
No.
line. There's another representative from Northern Liberty on the line. Please raise your hand so that we can admit you. Otherwise, I will advise the commission that this is a Class C tavern license at 10:15 and a half 7th Street Northwest. Hours of operation are Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 2 a.m., Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 3 a.m. Same hours of sales and services. Hours of entertainment are 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. on Sunday through Thursday, 6 p.m. to 3 a.m. on Fridays and Saturdays. And the committee did consider the application. There was no investigative history for this applicant. The applicant was not present, but the committee nonetheless did vote to recommend the full commission support the renewal of this Class C tavern license. And this is in Commissioner Nigro's single member district. Commissioner Nigro, do you have any comments?
No, I think they're doing a great job. They're newish, I don't know, 6 months or so. And, you know, there has been some transitions in that space, and I wish them well. I hope they do more business and have more activities, but there hasn't been any negative impact or anything thus far.
Great, glad to hear that. Any questions by members of the commission about this application? None. Are there any parties on the Zoom call that would like to be recognized to comment on the application for the renewal of the license for Northern Liberty? I don't see any hands raised. Looking through the chat, and I don't see anything related to this case. So, Commissioner Nigro, would you like to make a motion? Oh,
Yep.
oh, wait a minute. We've got a hand raised by Blagden Court Condominium. Oh, no, it went down. Sorry.
All right, I move that ANC 2G support the renewal for the Class C Tavern license for Northern Liberty, which is at 10:15 and a half 7th Street Northwest, and that we communicate that back to Abra.
And is there a second? we have a second? Commissioner Brown, a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Commissioner Barry, I didn't see your hand.
Aye.
Yes, great. Thank you. That's unanimous. Thank you very much. So we will report that to Abra. So coming back to the agenda, there are a number of protests, totaling 3 protests that are currently active that have become ANC2G's responsibility as a result of being a successor to ANC 6E and ANC 2F's interests. Those are located in ANC 2G01 and ANC 2G04. ANC 2G01, the establishments are Rito Loco and the blanking out on the Osteria.
Quattro Austria.
Quattro Osteria. Sorry, didn't have that in front of me. And in 2G04, there's a TG Cigar. So those 3 cases are now the responsibility of ANC 2G, and we are the successors in interest. And just to formally recognize that, I'm going to ask the commission, after we take any questions that may be posed by the commission or the public, a resolution formally accepting this responsibility, and that assuring the community and ABRA that we will be continuing to act on behalf of the ANCs and that are and the residents that are affected by these particular protests. So first, Tony, Commissioner Brown, any comments related to the 2 protests in your single member district?
Sorry. No, I don't have any objection to it. As far as I'm concerned, we can just pick up where we left off in 6E and proceed on as we need to proceed.
All right, Commissioner
So
McCarty.
oh,
I'm sorry.
Can I just comment on this, because these were both cases that I was managing prior to the redistricting. Both of these cases, we've already gone through the protest hearing. We're essentially just waiting. We have one of the protestants is drafting findings of facts and conclusions of law in the El Techo Rito Loco. So for all, that's essentially like formality post-hearing. So for all intents and purposes, there's not much more that the ANC has to do in this situation. For the purposes of continuity, I recommend that I continue to be the ANC representative in these matters, just to close out these cases, because I think that we'll get an ABRA ABC board order in the next few weeks.
All right, I think I see Commissioner Brown nodding his head on that.
Yes, that's fine. Just keep me updated as to what's
I will definitely keep you updated. I just have a list of residents that I've been working with, and I intend to include you in those communications.
Okay, great. I'll be around.
Great. Commissioner McCarty.
I've heard a lot of feedback from our neighbors, especially at the Whitman, about TG Cigars. They formally have their own protest group going on against TG Cigars and 2F, ANC 2F, formerly 2F06, we're now 2G04, also started a formal protest that is delayed right now while the owner is in Ethiopia. I know the folks at the Whitman, our neighbors at the Whitman, are okay with delaying that until the owner gets back in March. So we'll continue, advocating on behalf of those neighbors and working hopefully with the owner when they get back to find a solution on that issue.
Great. Any other comments from members of the commission relating to these matters? Seeing none, any comments from members of the public, please raise your hand. Be recognized. See Blagden Court Condominium. Bring them over, please. Please unmute yourself, Blackman Court Condominium, and go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. So this is this is a position of several residents, not just Blagden Court. Just as a reminder, the question is, what can be done with respect to the applications, the renewal applications for Never Look Better 18th Street Lounge? The community signed 120 plus residents that live solely in Shepherd Court, Blagden Alley, and Naylor Court, signed a petition about the problems from these establishments and a couple others, but at least these ones were pending. ANC 2F, chaired by John Gagamos, who's also the chair of the DC Nightlife Council, which represents and is the lobby group for DC nightclubs, and also a bar owner himself in 2F, refused to take up the matter, refused to put it to vote, and said we should take it up with 2G. While we knew the deadline was coming, unfortunately, we were left in lurch. So I'm just springboarding off of his last comment to us, which was, quote, "You all can take it up with your new ANC." So my question here is, what can our new ANC do to help us? It's been an absolute nightmare for every single resident in Blagden Alley, unable to sleep at night on the majority of weekends because the patron noise goes on until 2 a.m. And we've asked repeatedly for Never Look Better to use their front door. My neighbor sitting here has a 9-year-old girl who's not sleeping at night. She lives in a carriage house. There's no location in her home where you won't hear the noise. And it's loud, and there are cars that are roaring their engines. So this is a dire situation for those that are living here. And just pleading with this ANC to please try to find a way to help us. Thank you.
Commissioner McCarty, I know that you're aware of the concerns. Anything that you want to share at this point?
Yes, so I'm very aware of everyone's concerns. I definitely understand, and I want everybody in the alley to feel safe and to be able to sleep at night. That is, everybody's right, and we want to make sure we work very closely to hold these businesses accountable, get them to be good neighbors. I've already reached out to a few residents in the alley to schedule meetings. I would definitely love to chat with you more and learn more about your perspectives so I can make sure I'm representing that well to ABRA as we focus on the settlement agreements and protests. I've also reached out to the business owners already to try to engage because I do want to ask them directly and provide your feedback directly and try to ask them to be better neighbors as well. And I've also reached out already to the Mayor's Office of Nightlife and Culture to see what they might be able to do to support us and serve as a mediator between our neighbors and these businesses as well. And last but not least, I've done a FOIA already to pull the full investigative and complaint history for both the establishments because I want to make sure that the Office of Nightlife and Culture has that. So hopefully they can help us as well. I definitely want to make sure that I represent all of you well and that we use every tool in our arsenal to make sure that we can all, live together and make sure that the businesses are treating neighbors with respect.
So thank you so much, Commissioner McCarty. That you've exceeded my expectations as far as the work that you've done in the background. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. It's just the 2 points that I want to remind everyone that where we are today is not because of a lack of community engagement. There were so many people involved on the 18th Street Lounge issue and Never Look Better. Our ANC just did not represent our viewpoint for obvious reasons, given the severe and direct conflict of interest. So I just want folks to know that it's a good community here. It's just, this isn't coming out of nowhere. It's been a few years of just fighting with our ANC 2F to represent us fairly and accurately, which they did not. So thanks so much, Commissioner, and I look forward to working with you directly. Thanks so much. Really, really happy with the work you've done. Thank you so much.
All right, so if we can put Blackton Court back into the queue. Would anyone like to make a motion, or would someone like me to make the motion related to issuing correspondence to ABRA, formally acknowledging ANC 2G as the successor in interest to ANC 60 and ANC 2F regarding the protests currently underway for Quattro Osteria, Vito Loco, and TG Cigars. Okay, well, in that case, I will make the motion that ANC 2G issue correspondence to ABRA and the ABC board, formally acknowledging the status of successor in interest of ANC 2G for the protests that have been filed previously by ANC 6E related to Vito Loco and Quattro Osteria, and ANC 2F related to TG Cigars. And I would ask for a second.
Second.
Been properly moved the second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Sorry, I'm sorry, Alex.
Question.
Alex, I was on mute. I meant to make a friendly amendment. I think that we should identify the representative in the motion for each of these cases.
Yes, definitely. So that accepted as friendly that the representatives for the former ANC 6E cases be Commissioner Lopez, and the ANC 2F case be Commissioner McCarty. All right, to the amended motion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 That's unanimous. Thank you very much. And now we have a series of administrative matters to attend to, beginning with approval of the meeting calendar. Members of the commission have previously expressed a preference for the second Thursday of each month as the meeting day for the commission. Potentially, the commission may not meet in the month of August, but we reserve the right to do so. The commission will continue to meet virtually so long as that is authorized by the Council of the District of Columbia at such point as in-person or hybrid meetings are preferred. We have at least two public buildings where such meetings can be located, pending final confirmation. Those are the Kennedy Recreation Center and the Wathity Annual Show and Library. So I would welcome a motion to accept the meeting calendar and locations as expressed.
Can I, so I'm going to make a motion to propose the following dates, which are the second Thursdays through January 2024, with the exception of the ANC would recess in August, and that the meeting in April would be rescheduled from Thursday the 13th to Wednesday the 12th, so as to avoid the final day of Passover and avoid holding a meeting on a Jewish high holiday. So without objection, I'm going to make a motion to adopt the ANC 2G meeting calendar as follows. February 10th, 2023, March 9th, 2023, April 12th, 2023, May 11th, 2023, June 8th, 2023, July 13th, 2023, September 14th, 2023, October 12th, 2023, November 9th, 2023, December 14th, 2023, and January 11th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m.
Friendly amendment, do you want to go ahead and list the August date in case we need it?
I would rather not, personally.
I agree.
We might have to do a special meeting, but I think that we should be more flexible on that month, given a lot of people go on vacation.
That's fine. So that's the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Been properly moved in second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you very much.
I don't know if Commissioner McCarthy voted.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. Unanimous. Methods of providing public meetings. Alex, can you bring up the provision in the bylaws that has the list of the recommended means of providing notice?
Yeah, 1 second.
And you want to go ahead and
yeah,
read in the form of a motion?
okay, so I move that ANC 6E adopt the following methods of providing notice of regular commission meetings and special commission meetings. 1, posting written notices in at least 4 consecutive places in each SMD within the commission area. 2, publication in a city or community newspaper, including electronic publications that operate similar to newspapers. 3, transmitting or distributing notice to a list of residents and other stakeholders in the community. 4, posting on the commission website. And 5, in any other manner adopted into the standing rules of the commission.
And is there a second?
A second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 It's unanimous. Thank you very much. Establishment of mailing address. ANC 6E used the PO box at the Brentwood post office. Post office boxes are available there. That post office does offer 24-hour access to the boxes. Unfortunately, the nearest post office to the commission area, Florida Avenue Post Office, has a waiting list for PO boxes. I believe that everyone feels comfortable continuing to use a PO box at the Brentwood Road Post Office. If there are no other recommendations, I would welcome a motion to establish a PO box at the Brentwood Post Office as the mailing address for the commission.
So I have a question, because I have to be honest, no one's mailing us anything these days. So, I guess we have to have something official, but as you know, or I'm sorry, Alex Lopez would be aware, we have not gone to that mailbox in forever and a day because everything is done electronically. So I guess it's just a formality to have an address.
I would be happy to check the mailbox as secretary.
No, but I'm just saying that the point that we're spending money on this mailbox just because no one is mailing us anything. If they are, they're not living in the 21st century. So this is just my point. I mean, we're gonna have to have it because we have to have it, but in the end, it's no one's mailing us anything.
I think some district agencies do mail us things, but it's likely
Who's that?
redundant with email. I think some zoning matters we get we get mail.
Well, and then you get on the stick with the electronic, but I'm just saying. So
But
we're just
everything's also
spending the
available
money. We're just spending the money.
electronically,
I get it, but just making a point.
I check the box. Yeah.
All right, so does someone want to make that motion? If not, I'll make the motion that ANC 6E use a PO box at the Brentwood Post Office as the mailing address for the commission. I would ask for a second.
Second.
I'll second.
Properly moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 It's unanimous. Thank you very much. Establishment of bank accounts. There are 3 banking institutions within the commission's boundaries. Sandy Springs Bank, FBC Bank, and Chase Bank. I believe that everyone should have seen emails from Commissioner Berry and Commissioner Nigro related to particular offers and services provided by those institutions. Would want to make a recommendation related to the selection of a banking institution.
So I'd like to make a comment since I took over from when Frank Wiggins left, and I learned a lot when, versus just observing with Frank. So we had Wells Fargo and 6E. It was an absolute nightmare being a nationwide bank, and the lack of communication or trying to get communication. Oh my gosh, it was crazy. And so I understood Frank's frustration when I became the treasurer. So I recommend a local bank, because this small amount that we have is chump change for any bank. And when I talked to Sandy Springs, and maybe when she talked to her bank, her local bank, that the big point I made with them is about communication, because this small amount of money is nothing for them, especially going in as a nonprofit business account. Again, I made a point with the person I talked with that we were able to call people, and that we wouldn't have to wait to get a call back and wait for some wacky doodle secure email to come 48 hours later. So that's the problem when you have a nationwide bank with a business. It's a whole nother level. So my comfort would be with a local bank, because I would hate to have Tony go through what I went through to beg for stuff to be sent. So
FVC and Sandy Springs are both local banks. Sandy Springs,
either one.
A Maryland bank, FVC is a Virginia bank. So
the gentleman I spoke with at Sandy Springs was interested, and I told him this is how small the account would be. And from what I understand, for this flex business checking there, because we only literally write 3 checks a month, if that, there would be no fee. So it's what the commission needs is very simple. We need a checking account, the end. That's it. Nothing fancy.
I had one concern about one of the bank offers, that there was an incentive to provide, give us $300 if we deposit a certain amount and send a certain amount. Is that, can we accept that?
They said that we would have to find out, because they were under the impression that all of DC was banking with Wells Fargo. And I told them, no, we get to choose a bank for our own individual ANC. So they wanted to check, they wanted to get back with me that, but you will have an individual banker if you decide to go with Chase, is what the bank manager let me know. And he also wanted to do a lot of community outreach projects, had his own idea how that could happen.
So, I emailed Dawn, our ANC financial guru liaison, and I did not get a response back, and usually she responds back, but not today, she didn't, about if there's any sort of parameters with this banking business, but I didn't hear back. So I don't think, I hope we don't have to stick with Wells Fargo, let's put it that way. So I hope that's not true.
Right, me too, yeah.
So to Commissioner Lopez's question, obviously, if it's impermissible for us to accept that incentive, then we chose to bank with Chase, and we simply wouldn't accept.
I just wouldn't do a national bank just because it's a nightmare. I mean, it'll be the same. I just get this feeling. Any national bank, it'll be the same. Because once you're pegged as small nonprofit business with a nothing account.
Yeah, I support either the local or bank.
Yeah. Local.
I think Tony should, if he's going to be working with the banks, do you have a relationship with either one of the institutions we mentioned?
Neither.
No. Okay.
I've banked with FEC, and I found them to be easy to work with.
Yeah, I spoke with the bank manager, Stefan, and he mentioned your name. He knew you, and he said that he had a good relationship with the community. They have a nonprofit business banking program, as well as a money market account that they suggested. I don't know if that's something we could do as well, but any amount from like $2,000 to $25,000 you can build interest on your money to that degree. So.
So I don't know if we want to wait to hear back from Dawn. I mean, I just think we should go with a local bank, whatever, but maybe she might have something that if we are forced to stay with Wells Fargo, because they are given access to the account, the DC government. So I don't know.
Well, we can certainly, do 2 resolutions in the event that we're unable to make the selection of a local bank. But the thing is, we do have to have a banking resolution in order to be able to go to the bank to get the paperwork to start the account. So FVC versus Sandy Spring.
I don't think it makes much of a difference. I don't know. As long as it's local.
Do both banks allow debit cards? I know that ANCs are now not allowed to have debit cards for paying for Zoom and things like that.
They do allow a debit card. They also will allow, like, if we pay someone, they have that. They have access for that. What else? Online banking. All of those are available.
This says free debit card. I think they're probably, I'm assuming they're very similar. So first, a small type of thing.
Well, let's see, just by a quick show of hands, who wants to go with FEC Bank?
I'll go with them.
3 there. Who wants to go with Sandy Springs? 1, 2. Alex doesn't have a preference.
I don't know if it makes a difference. Maybe I think we should wait. And then maybe once we know, and then we can just leave. Why don't we leave it up to Tony? Why don't we leave Tony's the treasurer? Why don't we say, okay, Tony, talk to these 2 banks and pick one.
We should just make a decision.
Yeah.
We need to vote on a resolution tonight. So.
Right.
Well, I vote for Sandy Springs then. So, but I don't care one way or the other. So,
Tony, you're going to be the treasurer.
I'll vote for the first one. Just to
okay.
We have a majority.
Obviously, Tony, you want to make a motion?
I move that ANC, am I online? ANCG use, what's it, FEC?
Yes,
As
FEC.
our bank of choice for our banking accommodations.
Okay.
And so friendly amendment that ANC 2G approves the banking resolution to establish an account, business checking account with FEC Bank.
Okay, accepted.
Yes.
Is there a second?
I second that.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any noes? Any abstentions? Okay, motion carries unanimously. All right.
Sheila, I'll talk to you about the contact that you have.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
In the event that we do not have the ability to choose an independent bank and we have to use Wells Fargo, why don't we make the same motion for Wells Fargo? Tony?
Okay. I make a motion that 2G use Wells Fargo as our primary banking source.
And again, Tony?
Oh God, I can't remember now.
Friendly amendment that we approve the banking resolution to establish a business checking account with Wells Fargo.
Yes, accepted.
Is there a second?
If that's what we have to do, I second that motion,
Yeah.
So.
I've seen other ANCs adopt other banks. I don't think that we're.
okay, well then it won't be a problem then.
But I just want to address Commissioner Nigro's concern.
Yeah, because Sheena had sent that someone had mentioned that to her. Was it the Chase guy, right? Yeah, so we'll just double check. It's no big deal. So.
Well, I mean, 1B banks with industrial bank. I know that for a fact.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but just in case, so all in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. All right.
Did Alex vote? Alex Lopez, did you vote?
I'll abstain. I don't really understand.
Okay.
Let's just move on.
5-0-0 is the vote on that. All right. Committees. So obviously, the operating procedures that we're going to be taking a look at, and we'll discuss those in a few minutes. We'll have a lot of detail in terms of the mechanics of the committees, but in order for us to be able to hit the ground running and be able to address the applications that are going to be presented to us and which we'll need to be voting on at our February 9th meeting, we need to start moving these, establishing these committees.
So Alex, let me pause you for a second. Do we have to vote on the security fund?
Right.
I wasn't taking it in order, but you can certainly
okay.
the security fund now if you want.
I don't care.
So we can.
Okay.
Tony, did you want to make the motion on the security fund?
Yes, I make a motion that ANC 2G approve the ANC security fund participation for ANC 2G.
Second.
And probably moved and seconded. I would actually make offer a friendly amendment to specify that the cost is $50.
Okay, right.
Okay. Is you second the amended motion, Commissioner Lopez?
Yeah, I'll
I think it was
second,
Steve. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, Steve, I'm sorry. I thought it was. Sorry about that. Well, I see Steve, indicating in the affirmative that he approves as well. So, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Excellent, unanimous. So yes, so from our original agenda, I'm just going to let's deal with the committees and then leave the budget for last. So as I mentioned, let's try to retain all the institutional knowledge that we have, and starting with committees that have sitting commissioners that previously led those commissions, those committees. So Rochelle, are you prepared to undertake the zoning, planning, and historic preservation committee?
Yep, that's fine, except I'm looking for a resident to run it. So that's
Okay.
what I believe should happen.
So we can certainly transition that, but at least while we get it started and get somebody
Yep.
boarded and onboarded, and while we recruit folks to actually to staff the committee, then that would be helpful.
Yep.
Commissioner Lopez, are you willing to undertake the same responsibilities for the transportation committee?
yes. I'd like to rename it the Transportation and Public Space Committee. But yes.
That's reasonable. And then I'm willing to do the ABC licensing committee again. But public safety, anybody interested in starting the effort to reestablish or establish a 2G public safety committee?
Is that the new name that Alex just gave it?
No.
Yes.
No. We're referring to public safety. So dealing with MPD and the fire department.
Okay.
Are you interested in that?
I am, but I'm more interested in transportation, so I'm gonna, I'm new. I'm sitting here trying to figure where I belong, what I'm going to do, how I can help, where my.
All right. Well, then we can try to recruit, a member of the public to be the initiator for the public safety committee. So I'll just go ahead and make a motion that we appoint the chairs of the following three committees: planning, zoning, planning, and historic preservation, Rochelle Nigro; transportation and public space, Alex Lopez; ABC licensing, Alex Padro. That's for a second.
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 Okay, Tony nodded and second. First, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 That's unanimous. Thank you very much. And then now the budget. Alex, did you want to put up your budget that you had?
Yeah. Before I do, can I just make a plug to maybe the new commissioners and those in the audience about committees and how important they are to the ANC? Committees are really where the detail work happens for the ANC. So if there's an issue related to zoning, public space, liquor licensing that you're particularly interested in, go to a committee meeting. That's where the real conversations will happen. That's where we'll hear from the applicants. And that goes for both commissioners as well as members of the public. It's a great way to get involved with the ANC. So highly recommend it. Even, I go to I'm chairing a committee, but I go to the other committees all the time. It's a lot of fun. So that's my plug. But now, I'm happy to switch over to the budget.
Well, but also to reinforce that, we're asking each commissioner to recruit at least one member for each of the 3 standing committees that we just established from their single member districts as a baseline. So if you're interested in serving in one of those 3 committees or getting involved in the public safety committee as well, then please reach out to one of the commissioners, to your commissioner, and ask to be appointed to that committee. Thank you. Alex.
Sure. So I'm just sharing this is a spreadsheet that has kind of 2 versions of the budget. First of all, just to review what our allocation is for this year. We have this amount, $4,126 as startup funds, and then $3,865 in each quarter remaining in the fiscal year. So total budget of $15,723 for this fiscal year. We had some back and forth over email about budgets. I think that everyone is pretty close. These are the budget categories that I think are defined for all ANCs. Is that right? These budget categories?
That's what I had picked
up. So some of them, so some of them personnel, we don't intend to hire any staff for the ANC. Direct office, and these columns are from Commissioner Padra, and these columns are from myself, and we talk about the differences. Direct office costs, 0. We haven't had any of these at ANC 60 either. Communications, $2,800. I think we agree on this. This relates to web registration, virtual meeting costs via Zoom. I think maybe Commissioner Nigro said something about this. We may not need this much for.
So the Zoom is less money now. Yeah. So the Zoom's only like $90 now, but I was saying in my email that Stephen would know better in terms of the website, but I mean, to buy the domain was next to nothing. And then, honestly, I think the basic website is next to nothing too, but I don't know what Stephen has planned, how much that type of stuff really costs to build a website.
For the website, we should be able to keep it under $500. It should be closer to like $350, but I want to give a little wiggle room in case we need to license any photos or, extra bells or whistles that we want our constituents would benefit from.
Okay.
So you don't have any concern about, storage space in terms of all of the correspondence and minutes and if we links to all the videos for the monthly videos, the bandwidth issues, anything like that?
I haven't ever experienced any of that, but has that been a concern or issue you faced in the past?
I've had it with our organizations' websites, but those may be some that have a lot more traffic than what we're experiencing.
And Stephen, is there, since there is an ANC government portal for, all the documents are supposed to be in there anyway versus our website, I think maybe we can consider just linking it to that portal too.
I agree. I think that there are probably some ways we can just make sure that the site is, snappy and usable, and not have to store everything on it, but we can, prioritize the most important things there and make sure that everything else is accessible.
Next,
down, or did you already took it down by 500?
sorry, I'm making a third column here based on our discussion. So this is $500 annual cost for hosting and domain registration, plus $1,800 for Zoom.
So Zoom's only $99.63. So basically $100 a month with the format we currently use.
Okay, so that's okay, it's 1,200. So maybe we could even reduce this by another 1,200. That's 1,100. Thumbs up.
$1,100 would be too little. If Zoom is $100 a month and we want to do 500 for the site.
1,700.
Yeah, what's my math? Why is my math wrong? So it's, Zoom cost is 9 times, it's 9 times 100. So this minus 900. We're not doing a full year. Is that right? $500 plus 900 is 1,400.
And this is for the remaining 9 months of the year, right?
Correct.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Okay. Office supplies, equipment, and printing. Commissioner Potter recommended $2,250 primarily for copying services. I recognize that some constituents may prefer copies, but I know that Commissioner Nigro has done copies in the past. And if other people want to do copies, I think now is the time to say that you're interested in doing copies every month, and we can make sure to budget for that.
I'm interested.
But we were seeing about $50 per month from Commissioner Nigro last fiscal year or last year.
Can I give some comments? I mean, I would just be wary because when we did that in the past, I mean, we did, I don't know how many hundreds and hundreds of copies, and it just, no one really responded. I think I do, because I pass out a very small amount every month, and those are to my seniors. But this month it was only worth $13 because I cut it in half. So I don't, I'm just saying a lot of the paper would be, and the money would be wasted. So from past experience. So I believe in certainly some, but not this large amount that Alex Padro is suggesting by any means.
Additionally, oftentimes if there's something that's impacting neighbors, the relevant district agency will make the printing for you. And like we had that experience with DPR at the New Jersey Oak Street Park, and they just handed us a huge stack of flyers that we were able to pass out, and that we didn't have to incur that expense directly.
So again,
because and also we could, whoever is a big believer in a large amount of copies, I would suggest maybe try it for a month or two and then see, and then maybe we can, but I just know from the past for years, it wasn't worth the effort.
It's important to remember that we're not handing them out because we want people to show up at a meeting. We want people to be aware of what's happening, and so that they understand what's going on in the neighborhood, and that decisions are being made that impact their quality of life. Yeah, I think that's to remember. It's not just, hey, we're having a meeting, come to the meeting. And if people don't show up to the meeting, that's considered a failure. No, if people, got the information, then that's a success, in my opinion.
Well, do they do anything with it? The question is, do they move forward with the, I mean, I'm just saying what we experienced in the past
Okay,
with a
quick-
lot of wasted paper.
All right, quick question. With this requirement that we post in 4 prominent places, is that just a regular size sheet of paper, or is this going to be something larger than a normal piece of paper?
I did
That was
regular
only a
today.
requirement for the first meeting because we
Okay.
approved posting to the ANC website as an acceptable way to give notice. So now we have mid-city and
Okay.
posting to the website, and people are distributing on listservs and things like that. So that's from the statutory standpoint, we're checking the box. There's other ways that obviously we're getting the word out to constituents.
And as I said it in an email to you guys, we're underestimating the low income population. Many of them do have smartphones. Many of them do log on virtually, the way of the world now. So, not too much paper, but I'll stop. So,
Okay, so do we think that, I mean, is 2250 closer to where we should be, or 1125?
oh
I don't
boy,
feel strongly.
1125.
I say 2250, and if we see that we need to make the adjustment, then we make that, and we're honest about if it's made a difference. A lot more people are coming out. They'll be more involved, as more time goes along, and people feel more comfortable being in close proximity of each other. So I think that plays a role in how involved people are. In terms of like printing cost, I printed 20 flyers and I posted them in the single member district of 2G05. And I posted it on 11 by 17 paper. It was waterproof. It came to be $91 at Kinko's. I do have a printer here that I plan to use in the future. I did have waterproof paper. There are all types of situations, but I am, more than willing to print these flyers out for my district myself. But it is something that I want to do because people have expressed to me directly that they're not informed. And I agree. I have seen people, have phones of all economic levels. So everyone does have a smartphone. That's my opinion. I could be overestimating that opinion, but I do feel like it's still necessary that we educate people. People want to be spoon-fed the information that's going on in the community. And sometimes, especially in this community, if you don't tell people, outside of just having them come to the meeting, if you don't say, hey, this is directly happening, then there is a lot of backlash. You didn't do it. It's, against our community. So I rather, cover all bases and include everyone rather than to, just be like, well, it's not going to work or it's not going to make a difference, because it could make a difference. And I definitely want to say that I did my part when it comes to informing people.
So Shane, okay, you shouldn't have to print. You said you'd use your own printer you shouldn't have to do that for printing out the meeting notice by any means, and so I hope you did save your receipt for these signs you made, right?
Oh, I did.
Okay, good. Because we're going to reimburse you.
Okay. Thank you.
Bring your receipt.
Okay, so any objection to just putting it at 2250 for now? We can maybe
Wow.
we could always change the budget later on.
Let's revisit.
Okay.
And I don't feel we should be using Miller's printers because Alex, was that like a Shaw Main Streets thing too, and a friend of yours?
They have an office at 1000 U Street, but we've got a UPS store on the 1800 block of 7th Street.
Yeah,
We've got a FedEx at the Marriott Marquis. So we have multiple options.
Yeah, let's not use Mr.
DC
Miller.
Public Library also does free printing.
20 copies a day or something like that.
20 copies a day. If you bring your partner's library card, you get 40 copies. Okay, so grants. let's skip grants because let's come back to it. Local transportation, $450 is what Commissioner Potter recommended. We haven't had any funds in this account previously, but I understand that we have a different commission, and if people want to judiciously use, off-street parking and things like that, that is within their purview, as long as they're doing official ANC business. I would prefer 0 here and encourage people to use their parking passes, use the free Capital Bike Share membership, use the free buses that are coming to us later this year.
So I don't get that. So I'm leaning towards more what Alex Lopez is saying, because if you bring up a ride share, which I also posed to, I sent that message to Kent today to ask him about that. But that could be anywhere. We could just blow our budget if we're like, oh, let's all go, or Tony goes one time and I don't feel like walking the rain and I'm gonna go do a ride share and it costs $20 each way. It could be an enormous amount of money versus none. So, because they give us the parking pass.
It's a parking pass, but if you're driving down to the Wilson Building, for example, for a meeting that's taking place during rush hour, you can't use your parking pass.
You can take the metro. You can use.
And if you don't have the luxury of time and to be able to take alternative transportation, then you end up spending money on parking. So I'm suggesting that those occasions when other alternatives aren't available or aren't practical, that we need to allot a modest amount of money for parking, which may not end up getting used if people don't need it.
Well, what does that mean? I mean, if it could be $20 each way from my house to the Wilson Building, honestly, with a ride share upsurge. And if I don't feel like walking one day, the commission has approved that I can do a ride share. So guess what? I'm going to do a ride share.
You should do it. I mean, you shouldn't have to not participate in it.
Well, we all can do it then.
All right.
And we should.
Can we call the debate? Like, maybe we could vote on this item.
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's just move on. Maybe just show of hands. Who's in the 450 camp?
It needs to be more.
Can we see everybody's hands now? Because I can only see 4 people's hands.
I think we should take the money. Whatever we.
I can see everyone. Okay, just show of hands. If you want to do the 450, raise your hand.
I want it increased.
Okay, I will
put it up.
For that. Double 900.
You want?
That's not enough money for ride share. That is not enough money. If we're taking ride shares, $20 a pop, and we have the opportunity for all, that is not enough money. Sorry, Alex Lopez.
So make it $900.
It's either 0 or you make it enough to use.
Okay.
That's not enough
900.
money.
Who supports 0?
I support 0, but if not, you make it a lot.
Okay, we have 2 votes for 0. Who supports 450?
I support 450.
1, 2.
I can do 3.
3. Okay, that's the majority of the outstanding votes. Who supports 900, just for the sake of argument? Okay, let's do 450. No. Okay.
I'm going to 3D every month. I'm telling you that much. I'm using this money.
Purchase of services. Okay, so this is Karen Yaley, our recording secretary. She typically charges $250 a month for her services. I want to observe that we haven't adjusted that rate in quite some time. I don't know if anybody's talked to her, but we may want to bump that up a little bit.
So we're giving her a raise, which I'm for.
I would support that.
Yep.
Okay.
She's never changed that.
So
Is what you're saying.
Yeah, I was going to go up to 275. Or, I mean, we actually don't have to talk about this. We could talk about this in a closed session if we feel uncomfortable. But just so I put 3,000 here. Support a higher rate. Okay. And I think that we could revisit this, obviously, if we need to negotiate something different with our recording secretary. Bank fees. I don't know what bank fees are likely to be, but I scaled up what we had $300 in the 60 budget in FY21, and I scaled it up a little bit due to inflation to 330. Any concerns? Okay. Other allowable costs. I think that this should be a catch-all so that we are fully allocating our budget. So let's go back to, I think that there's a conversation we had between grants and purchase of services. Purchase of services, I think one of the things that we can purchase is attorneys fees for ABRA protest matters. Attorneys are very expensive, as I've come to learn. One attorney quoted me at $350 an hour, with likely to be like 15 to 20 hours. So that's several tens of thousands of dollars for helping us with one protest hearing. So that's a real cost. And the establishments applying for these licenses do have attorneys. And so it does help if the ANC has equal legal representation. On the other hand, the ANC is a grant-making organization, and we have the opportunity, and I think in some regards the imperative to see that a good portion of our annual allocation goes out the door towards individuals and organizations that are doing good for our residents. So we have the opportunity to put funds in the grant budget item. What I would recommend, what I recommended is that we fund the grant as much as possible for this fiscal year. But I also, I'm sensitive to the fact that we do have some ABRA matters, and so we may want to reserve some in purchase of services.
So my concern about grants is that, number one, if we do give out grants, then we're not going to have funds to potentially be able to afford legal assistance on ABRA matters in future years, because we need to build up enough reserves to be able to afford them. And in our experience has been that it's been very difficult to actually be able to give the money out, even if we approve grants, because once it goes to OANC for a final approval, it's rare that OANC allows us to give the grants out, because they'll claim that it's a prohibited expense, or that the costs are duplicative of DC government funded initiatives. So we end up with not being able to hand out the grants that we had to, that we've offered and approved, and then the nonprofits that have come to us are disappointed that that we're unable to give them the grant that we offered and approved. So that's why I'm disinclined, at least this year, to giving grants, and I'd rather see us put those funds into purchase of services, and if we don't use them in this year because we don't have enough in that fund, in that line item, then we can build it up so that in the future year we're able to. That's my argument, but I'm willing to listen to others.
I have a question. If we leave the grant line item at 0, but have the surplus budget not allocated, just sitting in reserves, if there correct me if I'm wrong, that can be used for a grant eventually if we needed it, or we could say, no, we need this for an ABRA lawyer. So could we just leave it at 0 and have the reserves, and at a later date, if we as a commission can decide what's most pressing and important?
I believe that we can do
I
that.
don't know. Do we need to allocate all of our funds in the budget?
I mean, the alternative is to do what Alex suggested and put it into purchase services, and then if we discover that we can't spend it the way that we intended to, and we don't want to carry it over, then we could do a round of grants. That's always a possibility.
Yeah. I'm fine
Don't-
with that.
Now, don't we need a lawyer now? Isn't there?
Well, yeah, we'd like to be able to, but we can't afford it right now.
Okay.
That's the problem.
Okay, any objection to, so we'll zero out grants. If we're getting to the end of the fiscal year, we could always reopen this budget if we have excess services. I propose let's put 2,000, another, sorry, not 20,000, 2,000 in other allowable costs, and then just this is the delta right now between total budget and total allocation. So let's add this to the purchase of services. 693.04. Okay. Okay, the budget is fully allocated. Okay, any discussion on, actually I can move this over on this budget.
I think we have a discussion.
All right. I'll make the motion that ANC 2G adopt this budget as our fiscal year 2022 budget and communicate that to OANC.
Is there a second?
I second.
Been properly moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you very much. So for those of you that sat through all that, thank you for watching the sausage being made. We did obviously make an effort to try to work out these details in advance, but sometimes it's best to do things out in public so everyone has an opportunity to see how decisions are being made. So with that, I believe that we are at approval of expenses.
I have some.
Commissioner Nigro.
So I have 9963. Let's take all this down. 9963 for the Zoom. And then I have, there's two GoDaddy ones. One is kind of like the service where, or the website is sitting currently to keep it alive. That is 1801. Okay, and then the FedEx, or the second GoDaddy is actually the domain, and that is $20.16. And then the FedEx this month is $13.55.
That's it.
Tony, did you want to make a motion?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that ANC 2G pay the following expenses for the month of January 2023. Zoom $99.63, GoDaddy 1801, and for the domain at 2016, and the FedEx bill of $13.55, and the total amount of $60 plus 1801, 2016, and 1355, and the total amount of $151.35.
And that's.
I have a quick point of order.
Pardon me?
Question. Quick point of order. For the website builder, which I'm hoping to use Squarespace, do I need to ask you to include that cost in the motion now or preemptively, or do I ask the commission to approve that expense after it's been incurred?
After you have the receipt.
Okay, then ignore me.
Okay, all right.
So Tony, friendly amendment, that's to be reimbursed to Commissioner Nigro.
to be reimbursed to Commissioner Niagara.
Have you done anything yet, Steve, or no? You haven't paid anything yet?
I have not paid
Okay.
anything yet. I'm looking at what it will be right now, if I needed to ask for that, but I will wait.
Okay. And Rochelle, just for clarification, do I have to pay you individual check for each expense or one check?
I think it's just one check. I've never had this many.
Yeah, no,
So, one check should be fine, whenever
Okay.
we get the checkbook.
Okay, okay,
I'm very patient. This could take a minute.
okay, all right.
all right.
Karen gets paid first.
So again, is there a second to Tony's motion?
In that motion.
Okay, it's probably moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Well, Michelle, you can't vote to reimburse yourself.
Right.
You have to abstain on that. So any nays, abstentions, Commissioner Nigro? Okay, so motion carries 5-0-1. And Commissioner Barry, you had an expenditure to be reimbursed?
Yes, but I do not have the receipt right in front of me to go over it. So
Okay, we'll do that next time.
okay.
Tony, do you want to make a motion to pay Karen Yele?
Oh, yes. I'd also like to make a motion that ANC 2G pay Karen Yadley in the amount of $275 for the month of January 2023
for
transfer out of the meeting.
Friendly amendment for preparation of meeting minutes and update on the website.
Okay.
Is there a second?
I second.
Second.
Probably moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any
Appreciate
noes? Any abstentions?
No.
Motion carries.
So Shannon, when you get the receipt, what happens is we load it up into the government website. So just let us know next month. So don't lose your receipt.
Okay, I will.
And Rochelle, I'll speak to you about all this stuff.
We are going to have so much fun, Tony. You are going to love it.
So I'll be hanging out with you. I will.
We're going to Shaw's Tavern, baby.
All right, come on.
Any further expenses that need to be approved? If there are none, our next meeting will be on Thursday, February the 9th, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. Via Zoom. The agenda will be posted on the anc2g.org website. There's no other business before the commission. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Do we have to announce the dates of the committee, or how are we going to get those out? I guess we could post them to the website.
Post them. We should post them on a website. Want to make sure that we come up with dates that our committee members to be can actually make.
Yeah, let's do that offline.
Okay.
All right.
I have an announcement. In this month in January, I will be having a single member district meeting. So I'll give you that information to post on the website, but I'm also working with someone to, have a social media presence so that people can, just log on and see. I will have individual meetings. I want people to get to know me. I want to know what the concerns are. And so, yeah, look out for a meeting coming from 2G05 this month, very soon. Yeah.
Great. Anyone else? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Unanimous.
All right.
Motion, meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone.
Yeah.
Great job, folks.
Great job, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.